is focused on Falcons. We haven't talked about the team who has been one of the best teams in the last year in our entire esports. And we will start off, Jesse, on Chalet. A very divided community barely gives the edge to Falcons. Will they be right? Will FaZe Clan upset us? Let's kick things off with our first map of the day here on Chalet.
Well, I hope you've brought your winter coats because this is going to be a chilling first map between Falcons and FaZe Clan. And the operator bans, there's one operator I'm always looking for to get removed. That's the Azami. So powerful, and the first one to be removed for the defenders. Not a surprise, FaZe Clan going with the Old Faithful, just way too powerful to keep those windows closed. The second choice is a bit more mixed, though. We could see a Clash, we could see a Mira, a Kaid, a Castle. Kaid ends up being the pick coming through from FaZe. So wanting to remove some of those wall denial operators, make it a little bit easier to get the breach going, either on that top floor when you're looking at the office wall, maybe some of those bottom floor bomb sites as well if you're playing on the hatches. The attacking operators a bit more interesting. The Grim being removed here out of the arsenal for FaZe, something they're not going to have access to coming forward through this game. And of course, the Monty, Vidaking's favorite operator, one of the best shield players in the entire world.
Incredibly high value picks taken off of the board and will hinder both of these teams. If you want that denial that you talked about, you'll now need to run a bandit or a mute. Mute will be brought quite often, not just because of his gadget denial, but the bigger thing on a lot of these maps is simply the denial of information.
Yeah.
All throughout Rainbow Six's history, and especially here at the Munich Major, we've seen what a terror a good mute can be. He's also an excellent counter to one of the strongest attacking operators in the game at the moment, which is Deimos. If you're running a Deimos, if you're running a Dokkaebi, if you're running a Lion, Mute's got you covered for all of those. He's a very jack-of-all-trades style of op who addresses an awful lot of utility on the attacking side.
Very much is Parker. And as we get into the very first map in this series, I want to go back just to those SI finals in Boston. It was Falcons that took the first map, who got the early lead. It was a maximum overtime 9-7, went into extended innings as we got to see a long first brutal map up that Falcons ended up walking away with. FaZe Clan had to battle back in that series. They don't want to be doing the same thing, especially on their own map pick of Chalet. They want a hotter start than what they got back in Boston.
Got a read on the Fenrir now as KDS sits outside of the building, and I
Oh, rehost?
fear we might have had a false start. This position that KDS is sitting in is the same position that Dash was in on Wildcard yesterday, and there was a number of tech issues emanating from that part of the stage. I don't know if you watched it.
Yeah, I did. I mean, there's always going to be some issues when you get to the LAN events, Parker. That's why we have to play things on LAN, but we've got the best in the business working on getting these issues resolved, so I've got no fear that this will be a quick pause.
Hopefully. I know it seems to be headset related, but hard to tell. For those who don't know how it works, that you actually wear two headsets technically when you're on the stage. You have a pair of in-ears that are used for hearing what's going on in the game, and then over top of it you have that headset which acts as your microphone but also pumps out white noise. It's incredibly important to try and mute the crowd, to try and mute us as well, and there have been instances where LANs have been played with maybe not the greatest of white noise or noise canceling headphones, and after the match, players will say, yeah, I heard you say there's a frost mat there. You don't want that. You don't want that to happen, no.
No, we've got solutions to that, thankfully, on the stage. That's not going to be an issue here in Munich, but always something to worry about, always something that the admin team has to think about ahead of time, and that's why their job is oh so difficult. This Falcon support's going to be important too, isn't it, Parker? I mean, the crowd was very animated yesterday for G2, and also for Secret at times as well. We got to hear that European support. Falcons didn't play yesterday, neither did FaZe Clan. So if there's any brand new Falcons fans coming into the audience who maybe weren't here back on Friday, then this is going to be their chance to give that loud support, be a vocal part of this team, because it matters a lot when you get down to things, when you're in these high pressure moments. Having the crowd behind you can make a huge difference.
It's a baby chant, at least.
I believe Tom Sherlock was doing a bit of crowd directing the other day.
Of course.
I assume he'll be back on the train this time around, doing what he can to get the audience involved.
I mean, you got a nice pun there. Conducting not just the train, but also the orchestra.
There you
He's
go.
a conductor.
He really is. A man of many talents, I've often said.
What do those numbers mean?
Couldn't tell you.
What's that a reference to?
Not sure. Lots of Shaiko supporters, though, I'm sure, in this audience on an unrelated
What a coincidence.
note.
What a coincidence.
Well, just unrelated.
What a coincidence.
It's been one of the greatest players that we've ever seen play this game. The original building block of this Falcons core back when they were BDS. It's been a huge part of their international performances.
And yet it hasn't been the Shaiko show here for Falcons.
True.
Solotov is having one of the best events that he has ever had in his career. Technically the only non-European player on the team. And why is that, Jesse?
Because he's from the Middle Eastern, Asian part of Turkey. I believe grew up in Izmir, which is on the coast. I mean, it's quite close to Greece. You could make some arguments. But still nice to see that representation from all around the world. These players coming from far and wide just to compete here in Munich. Falcons, again, started as that fully French roster and then branched out to be an international team as soon as they added Solotov and Uzis onto this roster when Eminem kind of blew up a few years ago. And there was a big risk in that, right? A lot of people didn't know how this team would do, communicating in English, having that big transition. But at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say they made the right call.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed here, but it looks like we are back in the map, so yes, we are.
There we go.
They're very excited. You can hear it.
Well, we do appreciate your patience getting this match underway, but it's going to be important to make sure everything is right before this critical game. Once again, the winner heads straight to the grand finals on Sunday. We'll have a map veto advantage on the most important game of the weekend. Loser's still alive, but they'll have to go in a very scary game against either M80 or Wildcard at the end of the day today. And with how both of those NA teams have been playing, I wouldn't want to end up there.
No, especially Wildcard. Their stunning matchup against G2 yesterday, in which Wildcard overpowered the crowd favorite among all of the teams that competed here. And now G2 is gone. I know Stompin's fans, many hearts broken. Doki's fans, many hearts broken over there as well. I partially wanted the G2 M80 matchup because of the Fabian connection. He spent most of his time saying mean things to Alimau on Twitter. Would be nice to see that actually happen in this venue. Alas, it did not come to pass. M80 and Wildcard will be up next. Then we will have the lower bracket final closing out the day. One of these teams will have to play an extra best of three. Now, FaZe Clan's already played 3 full maps over Falcons at this point, Jesse. So if it's FaZe Clan who drops down to the lower bracket, that's just going to mean more for Falcons to see, more maps that you're going to have to expose, more stats that you're going to have to give up, strats that you're going to have to give up.
There's a lot of footage already on FaZe Clan, but this is actually the one bomb site where there isn't any footage. FaZe Clan didn't have to attack the bottom floor in their last game up against the North American team when they played this versus Wildcard a few days ago. Still finding the opening pick, though. Cyber just inside a library.
Every single player in this lobby is a positive KD except for Cyber, and he's about to change that in a hurry. 2 uncontested picks, and he scares off one more as a third could have been had. And not just those 2 picks, but also using the boogie drones to establish dominance and open up a line of sight down below. They've got this Falcons defense on the run. The eyes of FaZe will now turn towards the main stairs. Shaiko's playing on that angle, and look at that. Shaiko's actually using those openings to his advantage. If FaZe Clan isn't careful, Shaiko could get a surprise pick and knock off this Brazilian team.
Yeah, Liquefac also trying to do something a little bit aggressive here inside of Trophy on a little bit of a flank. They will be ready for this. They know they haven't cleared this side of the map, and we do see a few FaZe Clan players moving over to this direction. Here's the vertical bars you were worried about, Parker. A little damage onto Handy, and it's responded with a death mark. Forces Shaiko out of that position, and now he's got to find some other spot to play inside the site. There's really not that many positions with all of these floorboards opened up.
They're just keeping Shaiko on the run down below, so he's not able to find an opportunity back to this middle floor. The bomb site is down below, though, so Shaiko, if he goes for a flank, would likely do so very late, but I suspect that won't come to pass with only 40 seconds left on the clock. Right now, FaZe with all 5 players still up, but Shaiko will remove Cyber. A reward for his play earlier. Liquefac is on the board as well. Down goes Handy. It was a formidable entry by FaZe Clan, but through the mid-round has been ended, as now we find these 2 teams at a standoff. Evenly matched as time continues to run against this FaZe attack. Vidaking shepherding in that diffuse kit right into the arms of EFAC. And now it's Souls to trudge into the bomb site, and Brede gets in on the fun as well. Falcons take round 1.
And what resilience that is to start off on Chalet. I mean, that was not an easy round to win for the Falcons. A great 2K entry from Cyber. He really cracked that round wide open. They had every advantage in the world, Parker, but timing from both Likifak and Shaiko, the longtime French teammates, coming in as a duo to be able to win that round back for their team. A great Nitro Cell in the midst of that, an amazing flank. Again, Likifak was inside of Trophy for so long. If he flanks a little bit earlier, maybe they're watching for it and he just dies. If he flanks a little bit later, maybe they're already in the site and he has no impact. He had to time that perfectly, and I thought he did so well in that round. Again, an excellent entry from Cyber. I was a little worried about him in this game because he hasn't had the hottest tournament. He hit some brilliant shots to start this round, but it just is not enough when then you're falling to these vert angles and nobody's watching for the flank.
Cyber entered the day with a -5 KD and is the lowest rated player on FaZe and in the lobby to boot.
Yeah.
Cyber is a fragger. He is one of your star players. He's the person that you're going to expect to get more kills than everybody else on the team. That has not been his deployment here in Munich. He's tried, but he's stumbled at critical moments. And well, the good news is you've got everybody else on FaZe Clan getting in on the action. KDS, who was the lowest rated player through stage 2, has been the superior player on FaZe round by round by round, not just having incredible moments, winning clutches, acing, and many times he's last man standing on FaZe and can pull off heroics just single-handedly, and it always does give FaZe a fighting chance. The supporting core on FaZe Clan is among the best in the world and one of the best that we've seen quite some time here in Siege Esports. And if you don't have Souls, if you don't have Vidicated, you don't have KDS, you don't have this FaZe Clan.
Well, this push is going to start over on the office side, Parker. You can see them already starting to breach these windows and looking to get inside the map. Likifak is playing over here. He's going to be on that Solus down below. This is his favorite operator to play on this bomb site. He loves lurking around, and he's famous for how good he can be with this operator, but so far hasn't really been able to have too much of an impact in the round. Lots of these drones still surviving on the side of FaZe Clan. They're getting good information. He's such a threat, though. Just playing West Main, playing down below, always can come out. If you are standing on a soft floor and you get on your drone, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. So they've got to keep that in the back of their minds. For now, though, clearing through office, clearing through piano, Handy on the Blackbeard has found no contest as he just takes that map control for free.
The second time that we'll see the Fenrir on the board. An operator that is excellent for slowing down these attackers and taking away one of the most valuable pieces from FaZe Clan's artillery, which is their communication. This is a team that is always talking. They always seem to be in lockstep with one another. It's why they are defending world champions, or at least a small part of why they are.
And you saw Cyber droning from inside the bathroom. That's so he can't get punished from the Solus down below. He knows what game Falcons are trying to play.
I mean, the moment that Solus got buffed, every single person with even half a brain in their head said, yeah, Likifak's gonna love playing this operator again. And here we are. Speaking of Likifak, he looks for the fadeaway. Solotov and Brede get on the board first, Vidiking all that they can muster, but KDS is in tow. FaZe Clan immediately equalize. FaZe had the first strike in the previous round. It was Shaiko in large part who turned the tides, but now FaZe Clan has flipped the script, and now they've got the upper hand.
Good top control, but the time isn't great, Parker. Only 40 seconds trying to capitalize on this. Vidiking's on the sledge, but you need to save some time for this execute. Good information with these drones, but the mirror windows are still up, and it's going to be really tricky to get this push.
They got a read on the Solus. They have a numbers advantage. They'll barge on in. That swings Likifak away, who will now engage with the sledge on that position. No nades in pocket, so this will have to be a dry fight. This will all really hinge on this next point from Likifak, especially now that Brede's been reduced to rubble. The big Frenchman now on the run, on blue stairs, 2 sights trained in his way, and there's just no real way for Likifak to win that. All he can hope for is a successful swing, and nobody else there to refrag, but FaZe had 2 players lined up in the same position. There's a reason why these 2 teams are here, and my goodness, what a clean round from both squads.
Yeah, it's a textbook execute coming through from FaZe Clan. The desk praised them for their defenses, and they are exceptional on that side of the map, but their executes can be really clean too. And I think that was a great example of one of them. 3v2, slight man advantage, but they took their time. 40 seconds, they still found every single player on the drones. They found those player positions, and then Souls with the defuse kit, he hopped over mezzanine so he could walk in the door from from Fireplace into games and have that extra angle. He finds that pick onto the Mira playing back bar, and it really just opens up that site. It's that smart late round play coming from FaZe, largely being handled by their IGL Vidiking, which really does give them the edge when they can slow the game down and put the push that they want.
Third round in a row for the Fenrir. Played in round number 1 by Solitov, now held by Shaiko both times.
5 seconds to go.
Let me have a look at you, capullos.
I do wonder if that might be a prime pick for FaZe to remove in the next ban phase.
Could be a common ban. We haven't seen too much of like the Castle, which is often a popular ban, the Clash either, so those are sometimes going to be things you worry about, but you also have to wonder with this new ban format, are Falcons just saving an operator that they want to play through the second quarter, maybe in overtime if we get there too, and there's a reason why they don't want to show it for these first 3 rounds so that it doesn't get banned out.
They brought a Deimos in the first round, but there was a mute on the board. Now, no Deimos, mute still available. Deimos, another good ban for the attackers, or rather for the defenders to remove from the attackers, so. We can speculate all we want, but for now, all we can do is wait and see what happens. FaZe's stack up Jesse at the moment, concentrated over by Library.
Yeah, and Saltov's done a great job just staying alive. He needs to stay and waste as much time as he can from this position, just playing in the Library box, making sure that he's wasting so much of that, and finally does get taken out by Vidiking. But 60 seconds off the clock, that's not the worst trade.
Solitov having one of the worst starts to a matchup he's had at this entire event, Jesse.
True.
And especially on that Scopos. That's not just one, but technically 2 operators that are in the ground, so that second bot will persist somewhere else. Cyber eliminates Shaiko. EFAC on blue stairs. Takes down Handy, looking over towards that library doorway. Now double duty as his attention moves towards lobby. A silhouette is there to be had. LeakyFac assesses the situation and drops instead into bar. Now waiting potentially for another drop to be precipitated by this FaZe Clan team, but will not be had. And now LeakyFac will go on a deep run through the entire basement.
Yeah, he's just going to get back to site, Parker. Cyber trying to catch him on the hatch, but he's way too late. Already looking to go up that west main and get back to the bomb site with your team. So I love that roam from LeakyFac. Again, wasting more of that time, and they trade out to the 3v3. So numbers advantage won't lean one way or the other. Going to be about opening up this wall and clearing the top floor. They really don't have the important map control. You want to be above this bomb site when you go for your execute, but FaZe Clan with less than 60 seconds don't really have that control yet. Vidiking's going to try to use this thermite to open, but that's a massive nitro cell. The wall will stay shut.
A devastating blow to FaZe Clan, and the numbers draw even, but strategically, it's going to be a tough way for FaZe to find themselves out of this box that they've now been put in, partially by themselves, but also by the defenders of Falcons.
Frag out.
Still looking for a pick on this top floor, but unable to find it for the time being. Falcons have completely fallen off, and time will work against this FaZe team as there's some info that's denied by KDS, still pushing up. Falcons will continue to fall farther away. They've given up control of Solarium. Now down they'll go into Trophy. FaZe Clan, a dangerous period of time right now. They are in jeopardy of stalling out with under 10 seconds left. Souls will march towards the bomb site. He's gunned down. EFAC is there for insurance. And I think the other players of FaZe have no interest in engaging. Cyber goes for a fruitless swing. He gets picked apart, and it comes down to the bitter moments. But what a hold in the final 40 seconds by Falcons.
Back and forth we go, Parker, and it's been a real mental battle between these two IGLs, Vidiking and LeakyFac, and you can really tell the game is about stalling things out, slowing FaZe as much as possible so that when you get to that late round, they just don't have any time to execute. LeakyFac once again does an exceptional job at sticking around just long enough to cause some problems, just long enough to stall out that push, and then safely get back to the bomb site. Excellent nitro cell in the mid-round too. I mean, that completely threw the plan out the window for FaZe Clan and had to adapt by trying to go up above.
Jesse, did I miss something with why nobody was covering Vidiking when he was trying to get that exothermic charge on the wall? Usually when you see the area over the wall shot out, you have to assume that there's something coming your way.
I think just thought he could avoid it. He was tucked up really close to the wall, right? So he was, in theory, in a safe position. It's quite tough to toss the nitro cell in such a way that it does land with Vidiking tucked right up into the corner. That's an insane shot. But here comes the nitro. I mean, you can see the angle that Bride's got it. He pops it quite early, so it still just manages to catch Vidiking at the end there. It's a really nice toss coming through from the hard support player on Falcons. But again, I really think it does come down to these IGLs and how well they've been playing. LickyFac is currently the youngest player in this server, but he's known for an incredible leadership ability. He's so good in these tough moments. We've heard him have some explosive moments for sure with this team, but always able to rein them in when he needs to.
People forget his age because of how young he was when he made his debut. It doesn't help that he looks older than I do. I am old.
You are.
We go through this.
55.
And I don't look a day over 48, so it's great, isn't it? No, I mean, it's veteran presence that comes from being somebody who's played for many, many years, but is still, in terms of his raw numbers, quite young.
Yeah.
You got guys like Hot and Cold, too. Hot and Cold is still, like, decently young, even though he's been playing for almost 10 years at this point. Not as young as some of the other players here. Vidiking will rush in, Solotov dies, but immediately traded back by LickyFac. Cyber will gun down Shaiko. These are almost the exact same players killing the exact same people as we saw in the previous round.
Yeah, similar positions too. Cyber
No
loves
way.
the front door. But the trades, they just don't stop, Parker. It feels like no matter what, if somebody gets a kill, it is being answered back. And LickyFac, again, amazing positioning.
4 people dead, and we were 55 seconds into action. That's a swift pace here, and Chalet can be a very explosive map where attackers can set a breathtaking tempo. That has not been the case for FaZe Clan. FaZe are not always known as being a quick team, especially if they're concerned with multiple layers set up by these Falcons defenses, which from what we've seen through 4 rounds now, Falcons a little bit intricate.
For sure. I mean, this is the round that we saw Falcons win thanks to a big flank from LickyFac. It's going to be in the back of the mind of FaZe Clan throughout the entire rest of this matchup. They're very worried about where LickyFac might be, what he might be doing. He's not actually going for a flank this time, at least not yet, still just sitting inside the basement, but it's going to be putting that fear into the hearts of FaZe Clan, something they have to worry about. Looks like it's going to be a snowmobile execute. Handy wants to get this wall opened up, but look at this. You can't really get through the drone hole because of the Goyo canister. The Twitch does find another way in, and they clear both the mute jammer and the Goyo. Allows them to open this left panel up, and now they'll have an angle into sight.
And that Goyo canister will work against them because the Bandit can't Bandit trick if there's flames down on the ground. So Bride is held at bay. A big part of why you put that Goyo canister there is because it actually blocks drones from being able to get in. And right next to it, there's a mute jammer. So even if you can take care of one of them, you've still got the other one there for backup. We might see a quick execute now as Souls dumps those flames in. They have not accounted for the Bandit inside of Connector. Bride finds 2 for his trouble. Now it's KDS trapped on these main stairs. A 3v1 favoring the Falcons. That little yelp let out by the Twitch will be intel for Falcons. They know he's by the fire. As it continues to go, diffuser out of reach. KDS will need to win this duel on gunfights alone. He has no idea where this Falcons team lays. 3-1 for Falcons.
An incredible versatility too, Parker. They win that bottom floor bomb site kind of in 2 different ways. One of them comes off a big nitro cell, it comes off a big flank. It's a little bit aggressive coming out from Falcons to win it the first time. And then in round number 4, it's just good old-fashioned solid anchor play coming out from particularly Bride, who has been so good in that position. 5-1 will remain his stat line, and that's been a key focal point of his game ever since he joined this team years ago, Parker. He's really good at just staying alive. Of all the players in the tournament, he's the only person who stays alive in over half of the rounds that he plays. It's a ridiculous stat that he's managed to maintain deep into this tournament, and with how this game has been going, it doesn't look like it's falling apart anytime soon.
I remember the days when Bride playing on that old Supremacy roster was often referred to as one of the best clutch anchors, I guess you could call them. Every time he was put in a position to clutch out, you had to hold your breath if you were a fan of the opposing team because Bride was such a force of nature. Gradually, other supports started to catch up, Jesse.
For sure.
And because of that, I think Bride fell down the, not the depth chart, but I would call it the sexy chart. The sexy chart is when it is no longer sexy to talk about somebody who becomes too popular. Now you go out of your way to find the other supports who don't get talked about. But then eventually the cycle just repeats. And I think we're getting back to the point now where Bride is being perfectly rated by most teams.
Yeah.
He hasn't exactly been as flashy, but that's because there is more depth on this Falcons team than there was on previous iterations on the squads he's been on. So Bride doesn't need to do as much, but when he's asked to do it, You still need to hold your breath if your team is the one playing against it.
When the majority of your career is spent sitting next to Shaiko, it's tough to get some of the spotlight, but he does need to be highlighted because he is so talented in his role.
Bibu and Shaiko. Before Shaiko, it was Bibu, who was one of the best French players in the world at the time as well. So he's always had a superstar fragger from that region. And I mean, to outshine them, as Bride has done, that's pretty fantastic stuff.
Well, Parker, this is going to be back to the Bar Games bomb site, and it's not really as fast of a push from FaZe Clan. They were typically inside of the office part of the map very early. They don't have that Blackbeard this time around. Handy's choosing the Lion this time instead. KD has to hop in through the bathroom window, so this map control is starting to get achieved. They still have to worry about Lickifak down below. He's brought back the Solus. He loves the operator in this position, and Shaiko in a bit of an aggressive spot too, just on the hallway door. Swings briefly for KDS, but gets away without any damage.
FaZe might only have one round, but they have 3 of the 4 first bloods, and they've come very quickly in most of these rounds. But, to their credit, Falcons has been quite adept at trading it back. In fact, Falcons will get the first blood this time, taking down a player who did kind of pick up the mantle from Bride of best support in the world, which was Souls. That's your primary hard breach in the ground, no follow-up. KDS's gun strikes, down goes Lickifak. No hard breach at all remaining on the side of FaZe Clan.
Another big flank from Lickifak. It's going to do a really good job of slowing down this push. They got to use their other utility now to get in and get space.
And Usis will strike next. Not just 1, but 2. Shaiko dies at the hands of Handy. Solitar's been dropped as well. FaZe Clan, despite suffering through this, have been so close in striking distance from Falcons. KDS cannot be traded out at this point. He is last man standing. 2 pairs of eyes from Falcons, lined up, looking at different door frames. KDS still waiting. He's time to go on to drone here. He gets intel on the Malusi now, just needs to figure out where the next fight is. Walking in, slowed down by the Banshee, and of course it's Bride, the man we spoke about before the round even started. 4-1 for Falcons through this first half. 1 more round to go before the side swap.
There's almost nobody better you'd rather have as an anchor position. He's so good in that spot, Parker. And again, it's a great round from Falcons to be able to play with their opponents a little bit. Sometimes we've got a huge flank from Lickifak, which draws the attention. Sometimes he's just sitting in the site, doing what he can to help out his teammates in the late round. But you're always guessing as FaZe Clan. And it means you can't just like dedicate one guy constantly to watching the flank, because he might not even be moving in that round anyways. And it just ends up being a waste of an operator, almost as good as a kill. So FaZe Clan, they're put in this really awkward position where Lickifak is playing mind games with him. Will I be behind you? Will I be in the bomb site? They need to get a handle on where this guy is playing, because right now it's completely slowing down their pushes and it's not allowing them to get to those executes.
For a team that's been so good on the entry, it is quite striking that they aren't able to do much more in the mid-round with that advantage. I do think a lot of it comes down to the way that Falcons respond. It has not been uncommon for Falcons to have 1 or 2 semi-unsupported roamers playing on their own. That's exactly what Lickifak was doing in the previous round. He managed to walk away with the kill there, but he loses that 50-50, and suddenly we become a lot more critical. Suddenly we become a lot more critical of the way that Falcons are playing. 4-1 defending on Chalet, on FaZe's map. Jesse, you've got the numbers, you've got the feelings, you've got the vibes. Does this spell trouble for FaZe or not yet?
I think so, Parker. I mean, when they played this map versus Wildcard, they won every single attacking round that they played in that matchup. Now, they started defense, so it was only 3 for 3, but they're not hitting 3 attacking rounds up against Falcons, that's for sure. So their defenses will need to be sharp when they move on to that second half. As the desk said, this is an amazing defending team, arguably the best defending team in the world, but Chalet is not a map where defenders tend to be favored. They can be really advantageous for the attacking team, so I think this is an important round for FaZe Clan to get. A 4-2 half is still doable. A 5-1 feels out of reach.
Remains to be seen what will happen here in these dying moments of the first half. A heck of a time for a Clash to make her debut. That shield operator will slow down the advance of FaZe Clan if they choose to tussle with Solarium, which is where EFAC was originally posted up, but he's moved away.
Changing mags.
Dangerous situation here. His first blows will happen over towards Piano, but nobody finished off just yet. Shaiko on the run.
Yeah, he's playing on the other side of it. There's multiple windows being held, so he's got to be really careful. Could be someone below, too. The air jab actually hits the clash, a couple of them coming through, but Licky Fat can't be capitalized on, and here come the frags.
Oh my goodness, 2 uncontested strikes into the heart of FaZe Clan, and it will continue to go in favor of Falcons now as Shaiko, an uncharacteristically quiet first half. Brede has won as well. You said a 5-1 was out of reach. You were wrong. Falcons flawlessly win their 5th.
This game's looking out of reach, Parker. That's what I meant. FaZe Clan now in a massive deficit on the second half, and honestly, that's the worst round that they've played so far. Falcons in full control to end out that final defense that we saw from them. Last couple operator bans will come through as we do swap the side. We really got to see what these players are made of in this next half, because it's going to be up to FaZe Clan to bring this one back from the brink. They did their best to stop that clash, Parker. They were tossing the air jabs at him, but at the same time, I mean, it was just pushing him deeper into the bomb site. He wasn't actually exposed to any angles as he died to those air jabs, and so it just felt like Falcons were doing a great job of capitalizing on picks elsewhere around the map. I will remind you that FaZe Clan lost map 1 of the 6th Invitational Grand Finals, and they still managed to pull it back 3 straight up against this Falcons team, but it's a different environment, it's a different situation, and it doesn't mean it's going to be easy to do it again.
No timeouts have been taken either, which is a little bit daunting if I'm FaZe Clan. I think the calculus here was let's hopefully close out the first half. If we can succeed on our very first defense, suddenly the gap is 1 round. 4-3 would be the scoreline. Now, best case, you're looking at a 5-2. But with the way Falcons have played, they've been in control of so much of this game. Maybe it's just because of the side they were on, and maybe we will see some very pronounced struggles from Falcons now that they're attacking Jesse, but there hasn't been much to give me that impression. So if Falcons win the first attack, that's a 6-1 scoreline. FaZe is calling their timeout with only maybe 3 minutes left in the match.
Yeah, it's going to be really scary when that does come along. For FaZe Clan, they're being very confident in their defenses. That's what this says to me, right? We know that we can play well on our D. We don't need to call attack timeout yet. We don't feel like it's the mental getting away from us. We can still lock things down. The nice thing is they don't have to worry about a Shaiko flank now that he's playing on the attack. A couple of those really powerful players that we saw on the Falcons won't be able to do exactly the same thing. Brede can't just sit inside the anchored position anymore. Licky Fat can't go for those big flanks. That's what these players do best. And now FaZe Clan, by forcing them onto the attack, will get a little bit of a different look at things. They started a top floor, a bomb site that we didn't see Falcons go to. And sometimes a tough bomb site to hold when you don't have that Azami available. They will have the castle, but ought not to bring it in this round. Double shield banned up against Falcons, so the players that we see on the shields, often Brede, but some other players as well, won't have those off. Yeah, sometimes use us too.
First execute will be handy. Down goes EFAC. That's the lion off the board, but hold your horses here. They're looking for a quick entry to the site. They have found it, but FaZe Clan is tossing them right back out of the same ways they came in. First look at a Grim as well as the operator goes unbanned through the first quarter of this second half. Cyber on the board, Shaiko the only kill that Falcons can muster at this point in time. Shaiko missing an opportunity on the Souls. There goes Brede. And a big gamble, but domination by FaZe Clan as they just need to find the case and hop on it. It took a little bit of time, but Handy finally got to it. A huge round from the Brazilians, and honestly, that's what we come to expect, but it was a cheeky, quick strat by Falcons. So it wasn't your usual plan it out move through discovery. Really hard to gain a lot from just a single round like that.
For sure, but it shows that FaZe Clan aren't rattled after the first 5-1 half. You know, they don't panic when that defuse kit goes down. They play their positions. They expect something like that to happen. And Souls really does make the game-winning play there. He flanks up the solar stairs, battles Shaiko, wins this gunfight. So important. A lot of players would be focused on the planter when they walk up those solar stairs. They would be tunnel visioned on stopping the guy who's putting the defuse kit on the ground. But he knows Shaiko's in bathroom, so he watches for that position first, wins the first duel, wins the second. It's a really nice flank coming up from Souls. And I mean, that's what they're going to rely on, right, to win this second half. It's their strong defensive players. Souls has the best defensive kill-death ratio in the entire tournament right now. 186 coming in just on the defensive side from him. It's kind of the only stat that Saltov is not in first place for, given how good Saltov has been. So if that's their one edge, if that's their one advantage, FaZe Clan really needs to be relying on that.
10 seconds to go.
And the funny thing is on this Falcons team, their top fraggers are their 3 lowest rated players heading into this best of 3. It's Solitov, then Shaiko, then all the way down to Brede. Then you got Uzis and Leaky Fack at the very bottom. But again, all of these players are positive. All of them have good ratings. It's like it's basically a situation where, like, well, somebody has to be last, even if you are a terrific player. But it's those lower-ranked players on Falcons that have shown up today. We have barely said Solitov's name. There's been 1 or 2 rounds where we've mentioned Shaiko. 2 of Shaiko's 4 kills came in the first round.
Yeah.
He's been held to 2 kills since then. So Falcons seeing that supporting cast carrying a lot of the weight, just as we've seen from the same side of FaZe through a lot of this tournament.
Well, it shows the depth on this squad, right? They're all so talented on this Falcons team. They don't need to rely on one individual, and that's why they're up 5-2 on Chalet. Now, this first push is looking to come solar side, Parker. The bomb site's all the way in barn game, so there's a lot of map to clear. This is still going to be a multi-dimensional push coming out from Falcons. They dodge a C4, and they find Handy, a huge pick on the solar repel.
And there was a push down from Trophy as well. That's where the gridlock sat. So you had no choice but to try to get out of there. Handy could not hang around. He would die from either the main floor or the floor above. That's just a rock in a hard place.
He knows he's playing a death spot there. He knows he's unlikely to survive from that position. A little unfortunate his nitro cell doesn't land, so he doesn't take one with him, but still delayed a decent bit of time. Now it's going to be on these other extended players. Cyber down inside a kitchen. The Mez player being played here with KDS. These are the guys you need to step up.
Solitov's got a good read on one over towards Library, and we'll see him for a second, but this will be a tough reflex test. Solitov's reflexes have not been the sharpest today, at least not from what we've seen of him through much of this major, so he decides not to take the engagement. He'll fall off, maybe link up with the rest of his team, but you do typically want control of Library before you can pull off a bar games execute. So it's not that this job just won't be done, it'll just have to be done later.
Yeah, they've got still most of their players up on the top floor. We've got Uzis and Soltov on the ground floor trying to work towards that fireplace part of the map, but really the push is going to come through Piano. This is where we see Shaiko, this is where we see Bride. They need to fight these players up inside of Mez. You've got KDS playing that position, likely in a fortified spot behind some shields, and then that Library stair is so strong too.
They've still got him trapped down. Leaky Fack within striking distance too, as they finally do get him. It just took Leaky Fack a little bit of time. Vidiking on the board, but he's traded out immediately. Falcons soaring in this round into a 4v2 with just a little bit more than 30 seconds on the clock. They have presence both on that top floor and the main floor, so now Cyber and Souls will have to swing. Cyber, the first one tasked with this. Sees the shoulder peek from Uzis, but cannot land the shot, so he retreats to the bomb site. And now it's Souls firing away, but at a disadvantage. Falcons at the high ground. Birds often do. Map point for Falcons.
Falcons have been outclassing their opponents on FaZe Clan's pick. They look so good in that round, Parker. Start to finish, they clear off the most aggressive roamer. They take the map control that's been afforded to them, and they slowly push into those players one by one.
Só jogando aquela... A forma bem lentinha de se jogar, tá ligado? O domínio e tal, não sei o quê. Então a avançadora, provavelmente vai vir os caras lá querendo caçar o sair pelo bar. Entendeu? Então vamos tentar reagir rápido. Tu já tá desbloqueando esse cara, certo?
Não, metade da luz, que eu vou fazer a habilidade.
Então... Ah, tá, vamos fazer a briga lá por cima. Tá, só cuidado então com a jaqueta, que
não,
o Vitor não vai estar lá, o cara pode preparar a jaqueta, fechou?
Vai ter que quebrar antes.
Ah, o cara vai quebrar. No bombo do bar, a gente tenta fazer o hand peitar um pouco mais ali em cima. Tá, só que em vez de tu peitar nesse cara animal, peita realmente pra suíte, porque é um lugar que os caras estão com um pouco mais de dificuldade pra jogar. Da Tesla. Tá, então, tipo, tu pode pegar qualquer coisa ali, só mais pra peitar mais o banheiro, fechou?
Beleza.
Se o cara pegar o rapel lá, junto com o KD. Vambora.
Bora aí, guys.
One thing that we heard yesterday was whenever the timeouts would happen and it was an opposing team, the crowd would get loud and start yelling and shouting. They attempted that today. I guess they're maybe saving it for the subsequent matches, but I mean, we can't really understand what's being said anymore.
Well, I mean, it's an important moment nonetheless, right? I mean, Rafadal, the head coach of FaZe Clan, needs to get his guys back in this game down 6-2. This is one of the most important jobs of a coach, is how do you get your team back on the right track after things have gone so horribly wrong, as they have here on Chalet. What I hope to see from FaZe Clan going forward is a little bit more team play, playing together. The trade game from Falcons has been lights out today, and there were rounds on the attack where it was good for FaZe Clan too, but that first defense that we saw, it really wasn't there. They were far too spread across the map, and they weren't able to trade each other, play as a unit. You're up against one of the best teams in the world. You're not going to be able to outfrag these guys individually, certainly not for 5 rounds in a row. This needs to be where you step up.
I will say the mid-round for FaZe Clan has been a little bit better. That's usually where they're able to get 2 swift kills and keep numbers kind of close. And the numbers aren't a blowout. Like for 6-2, you would expect the deaths and kills on the side of FaZe Clan to be worse. They've still been putting up a good fight in many of these rounds. but there hasn't been a lot of overall good on the side of FaZe. Falcons have looked terrific through a lot of these rounds, but some of them have been pretty routine. It just looks like FaZe are suffering through maybe some shakes, maybe some nerves, maybe it's too early in the morning, maybe some of them are just not dialed in yet, and that will change when we go to map number 2, Lair. The problem is that that is Falcons' pick. Now, it is a map that FaZe knows very well. They played it quite a lot in the SA League this previous stage. So the overall map pool looks good for FaZe Clan, but right now, Falcons are saying, we don't care where we go, we're the better team, and they are showing it here on FaZe's map.
Yeah, there's no GG go next here at upper bracket finals of a major. You've got to fight for every single round, and that's what FaZe Clan will be doing here. Lots of map control still being held. They haven't really gotten a lot of the control back on the side of Falcons, but the utility work has been excellent. They hack some of these cameras. They try to get some of this intel with their drones. That first logic bomb, they threaten a fast execute, but it's not happened just yet.
Handy once again finds himself in a really tough position, but the Castle of Cyber is there to assist. A straight vault in. They've managed to pin down this trophy stairs player. He will go all the way back up, but Solotov collects him, looking for a big round from the Turkish Terror as he's been held off the score sheet. He's doing an awful lot of damage, but not able to secure. Remember, Jesse, it's always faster to swap to your sidearm than to go for a reload. Solotov understood that.
Still no control up above, though. He's in a really tough spot and gets traded out by Cyber.
Solotov wanted that engagement earlier on. Cyber, though, living for so long inside of Kitchen. The final logic bomb will go off to pin down these FaZe Clan defenders, many of whom are above. Cyber finally punished. And now FaZe has to determine, do we try to retake this bomb site? Do we just play the hatches and use the vert? Falcons have not gone for a full clear here, Jesse, but they do have one player on upside down repel on Solarium. That's Bride, so he could catch them if FaZe tries to retake that trophy portion of the map.
60 seconds was a very long time for FaZe Clan to try to stop those defuse kits from going down. They got to kind of do something to get the momentum back on their side.
Oh, Bride, how do you get so lucky? As he manages to avoid Vidaking's wrath, the Nitro Cell will go out, and it misses. Bride wasting a lot of time, keeping their attention. All the while, the rest of Falcons doing what needs to be done. Soul's dead, KDS and Vidaking, the last two standing. They'll deal some damage to Shaiko. Yuzus getting Diffuser down. Bride still hanging on, and it's Vidaking to also die to Bride on the window. A ton of support there for Falcons as they are flying mighty high. FaZe Clan chose map 1, and Falcons said, all right, thanks for that. 7-2 for Falcons as they're up 1-0, now about to stare down their own map.
The Europeans let down the home crowd on map number 1. I'm back on Friday, but here on Chalet, Falcons did exactly what was needed.
Will we see one more map between these two teams, or will a third be on deck right now? Feels like a 2-0. Will that come to pass? We'll find out in a couple minutes.
You two know each other very well. Still, do you think they brought something unexpected?
A gente esperava que eles iam fazer tudo isso que eles fizeram. Acho que a gente pegou bastante kill no ataque inicial e a gente demorou um pouco para fazer algumas coisas. Só isso.
Okay. We expected them to do all they did. We got a lot of kills in the attack. And repete a última frase.
E a gente demorou para fazer alguma coisa.
And we took a little too long to do something about the game. Do you understand, Liquefact, that the only thing that separates you from the grand final is only one map?
You're trying to put pressure on myself.
No.
No, yeah, we did good map. Now we are focused on the next one, and we'll see.
Okay, do you think you'll be needing one of this or FaZe Clan in the next map?
I think FaZe needs this, to be honest.
Okay, give it to them. No, just kidding.
I was about to do it.
Who will sink and who will swim? And now, out of map number 1, Chalet definitely heated up. That snow was all over the place, and Liquefact specifically, this man, incredible game from him.
He saved so many early rounds. I want you to pay attention here. Round 1, 3v5, Shaiko gets an initial pick, but who's on the mirror, roaming, trying to get backstab? It's Liquefact. Liquefact bringing rounds back again and again, especially in the early rounds. I think, Jack, it sets the pace for everything in this matchup.
Yeah, I think so. It really turns the tide on the momentum. I think we said it there, didn't we, Leo? That after 5 rounds, it should have been strategically maybe even 4-1 to FaZe Clan, but Liquefact and his ability to have the mid-round shot calling, the mid-round adaptation, but what makes him unique is the ability to put those kills on the board himself as well. Really carried Falcons to the rounds that they were getting on the defense.
If you look at this round, once again, he went aggressive, got the pick, Grid gets the C4, and they turn another 3v5 into a 3v3. Nothing can be done here on site, and they close out the round. And that kept on happening early round. If you pay attention, that was round 1, round 3, round 4, another 3v4. Look at Liquefact getting aggressive, getting that pick, and initially he was the one that traded the first kill. Liquefact is the main hero of that roster. Not only the in-game leader, but also the one that brings the rounds back. And he's the main reason why Falcons displayed the best gameplay I've seen of them in a long time in that first map.
We get the privilege during EML to listen to the team communications. We get to hear how he talks to the team and how important he is to this team. He is actually the heartbeat of it. When he is on it, there are very few teams that will ever stop this team when they're playing off the back of his calling.
If you were to genetically engineer the perfect IGL, it would just be Liquefact at the end of it. He can frag, he can lead, he can make sure he's ratting all over the place. But that was map number 1. We'll talk about our second one and more after the break.
On dit qu'au-delà des mers, là-bas sur le ciel clair, il existe une cité au séjour enchanté. Et sur les grands arbres noirs, chaque soir, vers elle s'en va tout mon espoir. J'ai 2 amours, mon pays et Paris.
watching from outside, it feels FaZe Clan most struggles with communication and lack of information. Did you do something about that?
Sim, tivemos problemas em continuar o round por causa de comunicação, mas vamos consertar esse erro aí pro próximo mapa.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a lot of problems with communication and keep it going during the round, but we fixed it for the next map. What you can tell us about what we are about to see in Lair?
I think Chalet was a bit of a surprise for both teams, to be honest. Was not that close, but they're really good on Lair, so we expect a good game, and we have a good mindset, you know, like it's not over yet. Let's be focused, and that's it first.
You heard it here first from the ex-world champion, now coach of Team Falcons, Julio. Chalet is behind it. We head into Lair, and look at that. Team Falcons are starting off on the defense. The pressure is all on FaZe Clan. What can they do to bring it back?
Well, FaZe had everything in that first map. They had the control initially, they had the opening kills. The main thing is keeping that momentum. Whenever they get that opening kill, freeze and get ready for the aggression and punish it.
Yeah, control's the key word. Can they control their own pace? Can they control their opponent's aggression and ultimately control the strategy? If FaZe can do that, they've got a chance, but it is Falcons' map pick. It's going to be hard.
I really want this to go into a map 3 just to get our day going in a different way. But gentlemen, we are set and ready to go. Our casters are ready. Our match is set. It's Falcons FaZe map 2. Let's send it to Jesse and Taro.
Well, thank you very much, Milos. Could this be the beginning of the end for FaZe Clan? Will Falcons make all the years of work that they've done once again realize another grand final? They have been here so many times. And yes, the desk did say very briefly, Falcons' goal is to win SI in France, but why not start by winning a major first? It would be a huge boon for this team. Falcons load in as the favorite. This is their map. They destroyed FaZe Clan 7-2. Do you think they have what it takes to emerge with a 2-0?
Well, listen, Parker, the hometown heroes are going to be the favorites here in this EU arena, going on to their own map pick, but Julio said it. This is a good map for FaZe Clan. They are strong when it comes to Lair. They have a 3-1 record this stage, only dropping it to M80 last week, and they got revenge by beating M80 on the rematch. So they're very proficient at playing this Lair map, especially domestically inside of South America. For Falcons, though, it's a bit of a different beast. They were on a 6-game winning streak on Lair until it was broken by G2 8-7 earlier on in this event, but that is still an incredible 6-1 record being held by this European squad. We will jump on into Lair, a place where the villains should have the edge, but I mean, I think the heroes of Falcons are going to be a little bit more favored. Nothing crazy in the operator bans quickly here, Parker. We've got a heavy focus on wall denial being brought out by Falcons. They want to make sure they can open the walls at all costs. They banned out the Bandit, they banned out the Kaid. At the top of your screen, Cyber is already doing his best to make sure they still can't get that hard breaching done, using the mirror windows, not to fortify a defensive position, but instead using both of them to try to keep those mask walls closed, making it very difficult sometimes for Falcons to open that up. We'll have to do it with some ranged hard breach. That ace from Saltov will likely be the tool they're used.
It's nice to see Lair get so much play across all regions. You and I got, as you mentioned, a front row seat to a lot of FaZe Clan playing on this map in South America. They were, for some time, one of the most formidable teams here. The newest map added to the map pool. Dare I say it, the largest map in the map pool. And it really does all come down to this for FaZe Clan. They have to show that despite it's not their choice, that they're still quite experienced and practiced. And how do all the other teams in Brazil that they've run up against on Lair stack up against Falcons?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting clash of regions for sure. We get to see exactly what FaZe Clan are made of on an international level. Starts with Falcons taking ops control, and that doesn't really take too much time. They managed to get that without too many issues. With Cyber placing his mirror windows inside the bomb site, that's likely going to be where the bulk of that hold ends up being. FaZe Clan want to make sure that they can lock things down. They're okay if you walk into ops. This has already been breached at this point. They've only used one of their 3 Selmas, so it's really important these last 2 H charges from Saltov get good value, and there's the first one on the outer wall.
That was a name that was not said very much at all in map number 1, Solitov, the highest rated player here at the event, the lowest rated player on the side of Falcons through that very first game, but plenty of time for him to still pick it up. And I mean, I don't think Falcons are going to care if Solitov doesn't have much of an impact, especially with the way both LeakyFac and Brede controlled so many of those rounds. First blood will come to handy, uses dies. They've now got Shaiko hunting down Souls, so that's some more information, but there goes the death mark, and now that info is gone.
This is the last Selma. It's important that this one does open up everything that you can. It starts to go off on the wall. Mirror window doesn't look like it's going to get popped. They will impact trick it now through the first breach and make sure it can't open the second one. The Kiba locks it right back up. So that's going to be a really nice denial of the breach from FaZe Clan, forcing Solotov to the door.
Solotov might find a pick here, but for the time being, FaZe Clan not giving him a single thing. Now it's LeakyFac moving up. Can hear those bees going off, but right now Falcons coming up empty-handed. This is a great defense from FaZe Clan. All this utility being used, and it's not finding anything on the side of Falcons. FaZe rebuffing them.
We're starting to stall out. We need a hero to jump up. It could be Shaiko playing in the bathroom, but he's got a tussle with KDS.
KDS has lived in this position by display for so long. He's not been compelled to move anywhere else. Kiba barriers being thrust towards the doorway in the final moments, and now the fire will go. Souls out of his position, masterfully coordinated. Solotov collecting that kill. Down goes Souls. Solotov looking for another. Bride holding the defuse kit. 10 seconds remain in the round. Solotov finds a double. Now it's up to Cyber to move into the site. LeakyFac's been dropped. Bride too as well. Solotov tries as he might around these Kiba barriers, losing out on time. Vidiking and Cyber will play the clock so perfectly. And the stall through the mid-round is the undoing of Falcons. Both teams with plenty of players still alive, and yet FaZe takes the round.
And Vidiking, like a ghost, he sneaks through that bomb site, Parker. He managed to get behind that entry player. Solotov had made his mark into the bomb site. He'd pushed forward, he'd gotten a couple of kills, but with that smoke grenade that was tossed out early in the execute, Vidiking was able to sneak back in behind the desk, behind those Kiba barriers, down not one, but two players, including the guy planting the defuse kit. That was an expert move coming out from the captain of Vidiking. We saw a lot of incredible movements from LeakyFac. The desk highlighted how good he was on Chalet. On the first round of Lair, Vidiking doing much the same.
A better round from Solotov there, despite it being a losing effort. Just like we saw through so many of these Falcons games, it was Shaiko and Solotov leading the way round after round, well supported by the other three players on the team. Only one round in though, so far too early to tell if the guns will have swapped on the side of Falcons.
10 seconds left.
What is Handy doing here in the corner?
5 seconds left before insertion.
A nice picture-in-picture, Jesse. I don't know if they were just showing off that FaZe Clan outfit.
Oh yeah. Make sure you buy your bundles.
Skinnergizing is very important. You all have to wear your requisite team skins.
Yep.
Or gun skins, or banners, or whatever.
Frankly, it's on some powerful operators. Of course, Handy here on the Valkyrie is going to be really important for giving them that information as the garage push starts to form on the side of Falcons. It looks like they want to go relatively linearly with this. Don't want to spend a ton of time on that top floor. Usually you'll see a team do one of those two options. They'll clear out top and then drop for offices, or they'll do what Falcons are doing, push in through warehouse, get this space horizontally on the map, and then make a push in through missile and lockers. They're going to have to go up against these Valkyrie cameras. There's going to be dread mines here put up by Vidiking as well. It seems like Vidiking might be the first point of contact, playing just inside of electrical, but they've got a couple different ways they can take this. Handy's not too far off either.
A very slow execute by Falcons in the previous round, largely because of FaZe answering them, and that utility from Falcons not going as far as they would have hoped. Now it's the Blackbeard to Bride, underwatch from Vidiking. He does it all himself, and it's a trade back. Uses dice. Cyber also on the board. FaZe Clan demolishing Falcons on the entry. Over half the round still to go.
I told you about those dread mines in the site, Parker. Vidiking is so good, and another big round coming out from him. Didn't technically get any of the kills last round because it ended on time, but he's had incredible impact to start this game. Cyber has shut down that roam clear on the top floor too, so it's really forced Falcons' hand. They now need to go all in on the basement.
Changing max. And it doesn't look like whether they're able to go all in or not, it's going to amount to much. FaZe Clan bullying this Falcons team every step of the way. Solotov on the board with a nice shot. Now he'll run into the next. And that's Vidiking using that same F-mine that you talked about to strike fear into these players on Falcons, and very quickly phases off to a 2-0 start.
Yeah, no, great couple of rounds coming in once again from Vidiking. I fear, Parker, that EML fans have a bit of a tendency to throw around the word king. We'll get attack first.
No, just kidding. I think like just pin Mirror next and just do it. I think the problem right now is just we are wasting too much time opening walls, you know? Ben mirror, we open all instantly.
We went so much.
I would say, to be honest, I think Ben is good. We can play him as well. Okay, we can play Mule, and then we're gonna waste more time opening walls, but then we bring more Ezek, okay? They're playing full turtle, top floor, and they play more. We take garage. They can do this on bunks as well. Just watch out. But for us, the problem is like trying to do two stuff at the same time, you know? Like you're trying to open the wall, and then Breed is pushing solo below. So just do our classic, guys. Push together, and that's it. So if you guys find gaps, you can play more crazy with glass and shit like this.
Yeah. Okay, let's go, guys. To be honest,
That's Julio, the Brazilian coach of this European team, giving them some important bits of information. Play it a little bit more quickly, right? Get in fast on these early pieces of map control that are really being conceded by FaZe Clan. They have been relatively anchor focused. They aren't going for extended roams. Cyber, a little bit of extended position in that last round, but it really has been Vidiking on the site that they've been struggling with. I was saying before the attack, I fear that EML fans sometimes use the word king when it's not yet earned, right? I mean, not pointing any fingers, but it's very different to be called the king versus actually wearing the crown, and Vidiking knows exactly what that's like. World champion in Boston earlier this year. The king of Brazilian Siege, and probably the king of Siege globally, given what he's accomplished.
Terrific player who plays extremely hard minutes on his team, so the fact that right now Vidiking enters this matchup with a net positive KD really does go to speak to not just him, but the way that FaZe Clan operates around him. He's a terrific player. He can play just about anything. On attack, you'll usually see him on shields. He plays those sheltered last moment of the round minutes on the defenders. This time he'll be running a mute. You saw how he played aggressively near the site on Fenrir on the previous round, where he was able to take two players of Falcons down, both because they walked right into his trap. It's really that simple. It's not just his mechanical ability that I really appreciate on the side of Vidiking. He's got a hugely impressive and high game IQ as well.
Yeah.
His game sense is through the roof.
Yeah, and he's playing that kind of storage position up top, right, just outside of the R6 room, and usually he plays the smoke there, but rocking the mute instead, allowing Handy to play the smoke inside the site. They're both kind of duoing up on that top floor, and it's going to make it really difficult to clear through, especially if you're coming from the north side. I think that's why you're seeing Falcons poke around from the south.
They trade off the SAS operators, right? There's a lot more overlap there in that role. Both Handy and Vidiking have smoke in their top two most played defenders, so I mean, it stands to reason. He's pound for pound one of the best defenders in the game. He can really do it all. Smoke is usually the high water mark for defender balancing too.
And so far, I mean, good hard breach going through, but they haven't found any of these kills yet. The information is there, and they're opening angles, but they're taking a lot of time. 90 seconds deep and yet to find a kill.
And Shaiko will be the first one found out. Handy using one of those remaining gas canisters. Still one in pocket for the smoke that's now been thrown out. Filling this hallway with that yellow gas as Solitov looks for his fourth first blood of this series. He's unable to find it. KDS answering him. It's traded back by EFAC, who finds two. Vidiking and Cyber both dead. KDS bleeding out. Handy and Souls in a 2v3 as KDS is now secured. Breeday taking up the mantle of that ace and operator piloted by Solitov before, and Falcons can now sit with the final 50 seconds in great shape.
And what a shift in the round. Lickieback has just stolen this back. It felt like FaZe Clan were in full control on the top floor, but they don't expect the backstab from the captain. Now they can take their time. 50 seconds to work this verticality. They've got a player spotted out from down below. That'll be Souls that they'll know his position. The push down green is looking very strong from Falcons.
Question is Souls aware of the fact that he's been droned out? If not, he's going to be in serious trouble. He seems to be aware of Lickieback's position as the Dogaby sustaining some serious damage. Handy walking away. Now he's the one under fire as Souls has found some salvation further down in this portion of green. Uses and Lickieback double up, and Falcons gets on the board.
Lickieback not slowing down for a minute. Map 1 to map 2, always having the impact, and I think just really coming together in that push, recognizing that those last two FaZe Clan players were trying to group up inside of green, understanding where they wanted to play that late round from, and so then just saying, we can drop the hatch, we can start this plant with our ace, we can get a really good diffuse get down to the ground, and then just force movements out of these last two players. Perfectly executed from Falcons, and good to see them getting back on the board after the attack timeout.
Where's all those fucking FaZe chants now? Woo! Sit the fuck down!
Someone's very excited. Someone is very excited.
There's a FaZe Clan hater in the crowd, that's for sure.
I couldn't make out what was being said.
I could, but I can't repeat it.
Why not? Yes, you can. He said, yes, you can repeat it.
Well, Blast, if the random guy in the crowd says I can.
Reinforcing wall.
Little surprised not to see the Mira banned out. They go for the mute instead, which was piloted very nicely by Vidaking in the last round, but always an operator that you kind of wonder a bit, okay, if we're banning out the mute, what does that mean for the attackers? Are they going to be bringing a lot more Deimos? They're going to be bringing a lot more of that Grim. Grim immediately does get banned out. Do could be another operator that can be very powerful when mute does get banned. Doesn't seem like we're seeing any of that just on this first attacking lineup, but obviously it could be more focused on those other bomb sites too, Parker.
Yeah, I mean, they were going to bring the Deimos.
Yeah.
They had him dialed in for Shaiko. They switched off at the last second. Mute obviously making Deimos significantly more challenging to use. But look at the lineup on the side of FaZe Clan. There's no intel or gadget denial that you need to worry about. A Dokkaebi would get huge value here. A Deimos would get huge value here, but they have seen the lineup that's been presented, which will require a fair bit of explosives and ways to get around these defenders. So Falcons swap things up. They decide to bring 6 frag grenades instead of these entry operators like Deimos, these nuisance operators, these assist operators like you find in Dokkaebi and Lion. I like the change from Falcons, and then you can also clear the way for those fires in the hands of Solotov's Capitao to do some serious work, probably not to do damage, but to flush out the defenders.
Yeah, Shaiko's played a lot of Deimos even just through this map so far, and he goes to the gridlock. It's his first grid pick of the tournament, so gonna be interesting to see what he can do with this. Shut down some of those flanks before going for an aggressive play.
Oh my goodness. What can't Bride do is the question. Frag grenade out! He gets Cyber on the run. First pick goes in favor of FaZe Clan though. All right, our eyes over there, but the action happens with Leaky Fact dying. Now it'll be Solotov in the ground. These complex setups from FaZe Clan don't look like anything very special, but they are hurting Falcons on attack.
I mean, it's these Kiba barriers in the site, it's the mirror windows giving extra information, it's powerful anchor operators that FaZe are using really, really nicely, and I mean, Falcons will be ready for this. There's a reason they didn't ban them out, but it doesn't mean it's going to be easy to clear through. Bride, his position is of course known at this point, inside a Skybridge, choked out by those toxic babes. Often what you'll want to do as a Blackbeard is you want to sprint through our 6 room, get across that bomb site so that you can plant close on the display door. That's going to be tricky from this position.
Another Nitro Cell will go out, and my God, he gets it done flawlessly. A boon for FaZe Clan, who through all 4 rounds have struck first. Falcons having to play round after round after round on their back foot, and they just have not been able to recover much at all. Only a single round in the win column for Falcons. But I mean, this is Defender Lair.
Yep.
We expect FaZe Clan to be doing well at this current point in time.
Yeah, and you expect the world champions to bounce back after a rough map 1, right? They're still a strong Lair team. They know how to play this map. 3 defenses already through the first 4 rounds. A strong spot to find themselves in. But now you start to wonder about Falcons' adaptations, right? They get to go for a second time back down to the bottom floor. They get to go for a second time now over towards Bunk's briefing. They're going to have a couple more opportunities to equalize this score. And listen, top floor of Lair is really, really tough to attack. I think this hallway pressure was so strong from FaZe Clan coming through, even before that Nitro Cell, stalling them out. The Blackbeard not able to get a whole lot of ground from Bride. FaZe Clan are very good at holding these parts of the map down, and it's up to Falcons to problem solve that.
10 seconds to go.
Neither of these maps have really gone the way that we expected. They've been very dominant. Map number 1 was obviously Falcons, destroying FaZe Clan almost every single step of the way. 5-1 the first half, side swap came in, and FaZe Clan were able to win 1 more round, but that was all she wrote as Falcons closed it out on FaZe's pick. Now here on Lair, it's FaZe Clan riding the highs of a defender-sided map, starting on their favorable side. Falcons' win condition is really just 2 rounds.
Yep.
Pick up 2 rounds, emerge 4-2, an absolute worst. 5-1 would be devastating, 3-3 would be a huge win. Falcons still have time to turn this ship around, but they are running out of time to do so. FaZe Clan are all over this map. It was a run out from Handy, who's been great for those opening duels. He's got 2 of the 4 first bloods on the side of FaZe Clan. Falcons yet to get the first kill in any round here on lane.
Shaiko with the Yana. This is only the second time we've seen Yana at the Munich Major.
Sign.
It really is.
That's a bad sign.
This could be his desperation operator, but if there's anybody in the world who plays this op, it is Shaiko. It's one of his comfort picks, and even when nobody else really plays this operator, he's the one who will.
Yeah, I mean, this is a break glass in case of emergency style of operator. If he's having difficulties getting his offense going, I mean, it used to be Ash back in the day. It was Hibana for a period of time. Yana has become that comfort op for him. A lot of times it just comes down to the gun.
Vidiking's on a stroll, Park, quite deep outside the building, but not getting punished for it because it's just look at that.
Oh my goodness! Doubling up on the Blackbeard. Shaiko on the board first. Bride down, Uses down. Handy has been so exceptional in these first duels. Now it's the Nomad of Solotov up next. He will beat out Handy and find KDS on the spray transfer. FaZe Clan left with 2.5 players remaining. That shield on Clash is the half player, as it will stand up and still work as a gadget, but it frees Vidiking to go fragging as he sees fit. That secondary SMG for the Clash. It's a mighty powerful gun.
They gotta find somewhere around Cyber. He's the one player that can play around Vidiking as this duo on defense. They need to find a way to shut him down. Was facing Shaiko in a 1v1, but Shaiko's repositioned.
Shaiko's already gotten a kill on this operator as well, so seemingly the right pick. Solotov takes down the Nitro Cell and Cyber, and then stabs Vidiking in the back to keep this gap as close as it can be. One more round in the first half. Falcons within distance to tie this up.
There's the best rated player in the tournament I've been waiting to see, Parker. Solotov with his biggest round of the upper bracket finals, a 4K coming in through lockers. And I mean, that was the same kind of position where it felt like FaZe Clan got the advantage back in round 2. They're inside of barrels. It's a massive 2K from Vidiking previously. Now it's Handy that really steps up and gives them that massive lead. But now there's a response. Now there's an answer from Falcons, and it's expertly positioned by Solotov. Hits some beautiful shots in the midst of that push. 3v2 execute. He does everything he needs to. Finding Cyber, I said that was the key in the 2v3. You need to find the player that isn't the Clash so that you can isolate the Clash. And I mean, they did just that. Really nice adaptations coming through from Falcons.
Not that it necessarily matters to either of these teams, but it has woken the crowd up, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
It's got people on their feet. Oh my goodness, that ARX is just, it's a fun gun, isn't it?
It really is.
You got both operators on attack that are running it in the Yana and the Nomad. Did you notice yesterday how much crowd mics were picking up of the hecklers and the chants?
We can hear a bit of it. We can hear a bit of it on stream. For sure.
There have been some unsavory words said that we are not allowed to repeat. I don't know if the good people at home, heck, even the bad people at home, I don't know if they're even.
Oh, fast breach coming out here, Parker. The bunk's already being opened up. This doesn't necessarily mean it'll be a fast execute, but Bride isn't too far away on that send but a fuse kit.
It's not uncommon for FaZe Clan to ego challenge this, though, and that could have been an early pick for Falcons. FaZe showing quite a bit of restraint because they might anticipate that it'll be a quick pick as well, or a quick push. If that's the case, you don't want to meet their fury with your own. You can just play a bit more passive, and that's exactly what FaZe is doing.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Clash in the bomb site. You shouldn't be dying to any of those early breaches, right? You should be able to watch that with the Clash. Worst case scenario, they've also got some really good planting out from up above. Handy on that Solus will be the key operator trying to shut down this Sens plant when it eventually comes in. Takes a bit of early damage. Parker, if Handy dies early in this round before the execute comes through, that could be really bad for FaZe Clan.
He's been the best player on FaZe by a country mile. He struck first 2 separate rounds. He got a 2K in another round. Might not have been the first pick, but was still instrumental in keeping it close. And of course, a very critical operator with both impacts still in pocket, so if he plays down below, he could easily shut down Bride on the plant.
They were tracking him with the demos too. They know how important of a target he is, but top floor, he's really tough to push because Vidiking is protecting him here in the storage hall.
Just closing in on this bomb site, but they know that there's one playing above. They'll track down the smoke. And almost immediately, Shaiko will become aware of the proximity of that smoke. Handy now has his phone going off as everybody gets called by that logic bomb on the side of Falcons. FaZe Clan have to play a little bit smarter at this point in time. And a nice shot by Shaiko, who's clearly feeling it. That will exhaust the gas canisters on the side of Vidiking, and with 50 seconds left, that's good news for Falcons.
Yeah, they got to shut down this top floor control. Breedy's already set up a sends wall, so he's ready to go for the plant. It's all about the util.
And he's knocked over! Uses his in on it, he finds a second as Vidiking drops 2. KDS is in the ground, Cyber and Souls fighting back. They managed to drop Solitov, but there's Shaiko now. All of these threat levels from Falcons leveling up. Souls has dropped his shield, so sidearm is out. Solitov recovered, means Falcons are in a 5v1. 20 seconds left. It is possible that FaZe can still win this, especially if they give isolated fights. The Falcons are better than that, baby. 3-3 the first half, mounting the comeback. And now it should be Falcons on the better side of their own map, tied with FaZe.
What a battle in that first half, Parker. They brought it back from 3-1 down. It really did feel like that was FaZe Clan in full control, but they adapted. I told you, going back onto that second and third bomb site, that's where you expect Falcons to be able to come in with those adaptations. It's an excellent push through the top floor coming through from Uses. Does a really good job of cracking open those 2 defenders, and they knew that there was a Souls up above. They knew that there was a smoke up above. They were fully aware of what FaZe Clan wanted to do with that defense, and because of that, they could spend 2.5 minutes just playing with the smoke, wasting those toxic babes until finally an air jab was hit, the dope call gets called, and they go in for their push. That was a really well-timed play coming out from Falcons to tie the game.
Well, was the Clash of Souls not the only real line of defense in the bomb site?
He was.
We saw how early the Hibana opened up the wall, Leaky Fat getting that job done, and then it's just Souls as he fades away, gives intel, hey guys, they might push into the site. They set up their forces around the map, but as you said, a lot of it assembled on that top floor.
Jesse, why are they playing Clash?
No. The camera crew showing the same, I guess, operator in the midst, the resin of the trophy, the Denari trophy, one of the nicest trophies we've had in a long, long time here in Siege.
Really cool.
I do like the busts being of relevant operators, but the resin in the middle, beautiful. And to go with the stage, it's a nice presentation, so.
FaZe Clan trying to keep their head above water, as is the tagline in Munich, doing what they can to survive in the upper bracket. They will not be eliminated if they lose this game, Parker. They go down to face a North American team in the lower bracket. That'll be either Wildcard or M80. They face off in the matchup after this to see who it'll be in the top 3 representing North America. It's been nice that we actually get all 3 major regions in the top 3.
I'm actually curious as to who the crowd here will cheer for between M80 and Wildcard. Maybe if the action is not fast and furious in the next round, we can poll the crowd. Because, I mean, you got 2 options. It's a European crowd and 2 NA teams are playing. Do you A, stick around and watch the match, or B, go street dogs?
Yeah, you got to stick around for that game. I mean, I know it's NA teams, but you got a European coach on one side, a European player on the other, and I mean, they've been putting some great siege up throughout this tournament, so it is a must-watch game, but stay tuned for the rest of this one first. This is going to be what all eyes are focused on. It's back to the top floor, right?
3 regions will be represented in that M80 wildcard matchup, not just with the coaches, but Jesse, also the active players, Dash and Baby Shark, both coming from different regions entirely onto this NA team. It's been a Cinderella story for Wildcard, rated the lowest NA team, yet they're still doing well. Hold on a second, look at that. Shaiko using an impact to shut down the exothermic charge. We don't see a lot of impact tricking these days, but that is a beautiful way to blunt the momentum of a team on attack.
It's such a huge risk from Handy, trying to use the thermite when you know there's a mirror on the window. You'll have to imagine maybe a Hibana would have been a better call there, and they were trying to watch in case there was some kind of a swing, but you can't shoot an impact out before it clears out the exothermic. So this wall will be staying shut likely for the remainder of this round.
Leaky Fac will take down KDS. Brede suffered some damage in the process as well. Brede, after his sensational map 1, has been held off of the score sheet here on map 2, but that is okay because Solitov and Leaky Fac are doing so well. Now it's Handy taking some serious damage as Vidiking attempts to plug that hole. Shaiko, entrenched inside of Master Office, will do some serious damage. Got those Goyo canisters and the Molotovs as the fire will prevent this advance from FaZe Clan.
trying to get into a plant. They finally get the wall open, but it gets closed right back up by the Kiva barrier. I mean, the util work has been abysmal from FaZe Clan. They don't have the walls open that they need, so this push really is on its last legs. They need a massive clutch.
Oh my goodness, the explosive goes off at the feet of Vidiking. Cyber, the first one on the board for FaZe Clan. Vidiking will be toppled at the hands of Shaiko. Souls' position, known by the clash of uses, that will be called. And now with Cyber using his death mark, both players on FaZe Clan will be known to Falcons. With only 10 seconds left, the job is to get into the bomb site, and that might be a bit too onerous, as Souls is punished by Shaiko. Shaiko finding his third, and a 4K for Shaiko. I believe Julio was riding, but I'm not sure what he was riding there. Falcons will take their first lead of the map.
Parker, yesterday we got to watch some exceptional Siege, some exceptional players coming through, right? We got to see a hometown hero, a supposed king. We got to see a runner, number 94, but none of them were the GOAT. And Shaiko just steps up for a massive round for Falcons to retake the lead in this second half. Not just the 4K playing from the office desk, but also just a critical impact coming through to stop that wall from getting opened. There were some brilliant kills from all players of Falcons in that round, but it was the util game where things really fell apart for FaZe Clan. They just didn't have any good angle into the bomb site without those walls being opened.
Julio was not known for his emotions when he played on that old Black Dragons through NIP roster. He was one of the quieter guys on the team. He would get frustrated, but he was never what we are seeing right now. We are simply living in Julio's world, and it's nice to see that level of animation, that energy, that enthusiasm, because you know from the crash outs that have happened on the side of Falcons, event through event through event, the mental game is something that Falcons do need to work on. When you've got a guy like Julio who just seems always so happy, so animated, so eager to get the team into good spirits, I think that goes an awful long way. It doesn't hurt that he's also a world champion.
No, of course not. It never does, and Julio does expert work behind the bench. He's a really important part of this Falcons team. We're having a quick conversation last night, actually, with JV92 about Julio as a coach and all that he does for this team. I know a lot of the strat making kind of goes to the other guys. They've got a deep support staff here on the Falcons. They've got Stuflex and Eagle Knees who do a lot of the behind-the-scenes work, but when it comes to game day, Julio's the guy you want behind the bench.
It's not even about the support staff. Falcons has like an entourage when they walk around. There's like 10 people with them at all times. It's genuinely quite impressive, and this was something that we used as a point of comparison earlier in one of our casts where we talked about some teams barely have a coach. Other teams have an entire research wing. So it is a little bit challenging sometimes for teams to overcome that, which is why when the underdogs who don't have that depth of coaching staff excel, it makes the story so sweet.
Vidiking starts to open up the wall. No problems with a mirror window this time, and they'll get an angle into Missile. They know that Bride's in here, so they force him back, but the site is really tough to break into, Parker. Lots of Goyos.
And down goes Solitov at the hands of Vidiking. Another nade will get chucked in. The clash of Bride has to scamper off and will do so, still searching for his first kill. 8 rounds in action, unable to find one. Uses can't say the same. He's found 5, one of them coming in this round, and Vidiking, after FaZe got first blood, have now been knocked back to a 4v4, and they've lost their hard breach. That's quite devastating if not all those extra thermic charges have gone off. We saw one did, unsure about the second. Souls taking down Uses, finds Shaiko as well. Bride felled by Cyber, and FaZe Clan about to tie this up. Leaky Fact playing that pulse. This is a tough room for him to get out of, inside a stock room, and I'm sure he's taking stock of the position he finds himself in. Handy with the final kill of the round, FaZe Clan equalizing.
Just a really good push coming out from the Brazilians too, Parker. I mean, we see Souls as that spearhead, the shield player from FaZe, makes that entry for his squad and gets that space for them. It wasn't a really complicated push. They had 3 guys just coming in from Missile and Lockers, all on that same side of the map. Then you had Handy top floor, locking down the flank, making sure nobody could get behind them on the Dokkaebi. It's not complicated, but it's executed perfectly, and that's all FaZe Clan really needs to get back in this game.
I fear some of these chants might be a bit too complicated for the audience.
They're learning throughout the weekend. They'll get better.
I can understand half of it, so. But then again, I'm not in the crowd. I would be useless. I'd be useless if I was in the crowd. My chance would not simply be strong enough. We've got a great showing here now on map number 2. This is Falcons' choice.
10 seconds remaining.
They presumably started on the weaker side. Neither team, though, better through the first 6 rounds. A 3-3 scoreline before the side swap kicked in. FaZe Clan showing that they are a team that can hang. We talked about the mental game on the side of Falcons. FaZe Clan are one of the most mentally resilient teams we have in this esport. Yes, they did get knocked astride in Sao Paulo as that W7M roster, now known as Furia, put on one of the greatest comebacks we've seen in a 5th map to win the World Championship, but FaZe were still mentally in it. They were just beaten out by the better team now and then. FaZe Clan need to show that same level of mental resiliency. They weren't able to do it in map 1. I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's especially important when you're going up against a team like Falcons who can be so in your head at all times. They're an exceptional team when it comes to the mental game, and this clash can often be a big problem for them as well. I'm excited to see Uzus on this operator as the main breach does get opened up. Uzus, maybe the best clash player in the world. He's played almost as many rounds as anybody here in the tournament on this operator, and he's won more rounds on Clash than anybody coming in through Munich. So he is exceptional with this op, wins more often than not when he's playing the Clash.
He's played the Clash more than his next 2 most played defenders combined.
Yeah.
So really does love this operator. When an opportunity strikes, Clash is usually good on most bomb sites and on most maps, but it can often be a stylistic thing. Sometimes you just need more fragging potential. Sometimes it's not about wasting utility. Sometimes it's not about wasting time.
Well, and they're not really engaging because they have to kind of go for a weird direct push, Parker. They're not fighting this top floor. They're just in through green.
I don't think they know about Shaiko in this rat spot. He's very close to multiple players. He's waiting for Leaky Flag to give the call, and Shaiko tries to get away, but Cyber has him pinned down. Surely Falcons knew about that. Handy's now on the board too. Solitov dies. FaZe Clan through 2 rounds showing so much dominance to start off their execute. Just a little bit over a minute to go, and they will continue to find their marks. Leaky Fact punished in this position. It's all up to Uzus and Brede as FaZe Clan are on the hunt.
Yeah, it's a weird push, but it's working for FaZe Clan. Big moments from Cyber to step up and get those 2 kills. Now you need the site players to step up and do the same.
Brede still searching for his first kill. He will need to get the job done as he's last man standing. Uzus punished by Handy. Brede holding for above. Diffuse kick going down. Excuse me. What a surprise that must have been, as Siege can be a horror game, I suppose. It's immediately traded out. FaZe Clan regain the lead. They've had it for most of this map. This is Falcons' choice. Right now, it seems likely that both teams will win their opponent's maps. And we'll go to Nighthaven Labs to settle the score, but anything can happen over the next 2, potentially 3 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, this second half has been so competitive still, Parker. There have been some really good executes from FaZe Clan, but Falcons as well. Don't forget how good they were defending that top floor. You go back to that bottom floor as well, and maybe there's a bit of a different setup. Maybe you can roam a bit heavier and you can deny some of those different pushes that do come on through. The Clash respect being shown. They will take it away from Uzus and the rest of the Falcons, who can sometimes play this operator, make sure it's no longer available. And then the Thermite ban coming out against the attackers. That's going to make things really awkward. You're forcing them into the Habana, you're forcing them to the can openers, and with already the ace banned out, it makes hard breaching even more difficult.
They're going to immediately pick both a Mute and a Capkin on the side of Falcons, so Uzus will go over to his 2nd most played operator, though as we did say, it's a far cry from where Clash is in terms of pick rate.
Yeah.
Brede got traded out right as he found his first kill, so now every single player in the lobby has been able to find at least 1 frag. That's good for this Falcons team. If you think that FaZe is too quick to get in, too quick to get into the building, Mute and Capkin are excellent choices to stall you. Azami's a great stall up, Goyo's a great stall up, and if you know there's a Solus on the board, you will have to aggressively hunt that operator down, and of course it's Leaky Fact who will play that operator, so all of these tools being brought by Falcons designed to force FaZe to double, potentially triple check every part of the map before they attempt to gain map control.
Feels like a must-win round from Falcons too. This is their primary bomb site, the only site they won through the 3rd quarter. If they do drop this one, go down 4-6 to FaZe, then all of a sudden you're looking at 3 bomb sites that you've lost already, and then, I mean, I wouldn't want to go armory weapon in a spot like this, but maybe they're braver than I am. This is a really important one to keep yourself in this matchup. Rounds 11 and 12 will be more difficult. This is your easiest chance as a defending team to lock things down and keep yourself competitive.
Vidiking not really in a dangerous spot. Not for this moment. This is inside of operations, and he shakes the Azami of Shaiko off of this position. Shaiko got entrenched there before, if you recall, and playing behind that office desk with Kiba barriers allowed him to take engagements one by one, win them all. That was Falcons winning their only defensive round so far.
This is a really important track from Cyber. He spots the one player that was down below and forces Liquefact to run all the way down to the basement. That was the one kind of thorn in their side that they had to worry about. The one player that was going to be a problem in this direct execute. The other four all still sitting on the sites. The Monty can handle the site players, can take the space inside of Mezzanine. The wall should be able to be breached pretty quickly by Handy, but it's really going to be this one guy down below. What's the captain going to do on this favorite operator of his?
Here we go. Shaiko setting up those Kiba barriers. Oh my goodness, there goes Liquefact. Solotov in the ground as well. FaZe Clan showing that even if it is Falcons' map choice, they've played it enough to be experienced themselves. There's a restlessness here, I'm certain, on the side of Falcons as things continue to worsen. They had the lead just a few rounds ago, and it's completely evaporated. FaZe now in the driver's seat of this round and this second half. They're about to win a flawless round unless Brede can do anything about it. Vidiking getting diffuser down. Brede stuck in a tough spot, and there it is. Done flawlessly as KDS, that's the final kill. Match point on layer for FaZe Clan. Map 3 looking oh so likely at this point.
And what a perfect execute it was from FaZe. I mean, you've got Cyber down below on that Deimos. He's able to spot out the Solus roaming from Liquefact. He gets his teammate to get that pick for him, and then he's just doing so much damage from down below the sites. Shaiko was the main problem in that bomb site previously, right? He's playing the Azami. He was behind the office desk, got 4 kills and stopped the walls from being opened. But when you've got a Deimos below you, constantly forcing you to move, constantly putting that pressure from down below, I mean, it is a nightmare to try to get out of that spot, and there's only so much Shaiko can do from a position like that. It's really well played by FaZe Clan. They needed to have a little bit more impact from that early round. Liquefact just being caught out by the Deimos. Now you've got to rely on the sites. You've already lost Parker. You've got to go back down to the basement. Round 12 is a mystery on where they might go for the bomb site selection, but for now, it's all about winning these next 2 rounds. It's critical that they can lock this out, or again, map 3 is very quickly awaiting us.
Map number 1, the first kill did not have as much impact on the end result. I like those transitions. I just got to stop myself
really
for a second. When they did it with the ocean yesterday,
yeah.
Cafe Dostoevsky, I thought it was excellent. Shout out to our observers here at this event who've done such a great job of catching that action and making the viewing experience for a pretty hard to spectate game an awful lot easier. But to the point I was saying earlier, converting First Bloods was not the most important part of map number 1. Here on map 2, every single First Blood except for 1 has led to a direct conversion. So, FaZe Clan, who are well in advance, beating Falcons, not just in round count, not just in kills, but also those First Bloods. If they can strike first for the 4th round in a row and the 4th time on attack, it'll be tricky for Falcons, and a lot of those First Bloods haven't just been First Bloods, it's been First 2 Bloods. That's been the bigger issue for Falcons.
And I think that's why this defense from Falcons is so restrained, Parker. They don't have anybody roaming in the top 2 floors. It's a full 5-man bunker inside the bomb site. So if this opening pick does come, it's unlikely to come early. They're having to fight these players late, but there goes Souls. Never mind, Liquefact jumps out for the frag.
The unpredictability on the side of Falcons did pay off in previous Defender rounds, but a more stalwart defense has allowed FaZe Clan to sink their teeth in. The glass of Souls is gone. You've still got Nuisance Ops on the board. You've got Ying, you've got Dokkaebi. These are so critical operators in enabling the rest of the attack. With Vidiking on the board, you might be in for a bit of a headache when it comes to finding guns, but down goes Shaiko. KDS reading into that. His vision obscured for a second, and he walks right out. This is a good reaction from FaZe, Jesse.
Can you force the plants? There's still some toxic babes, and it does go out. We see the smokes, but the plant's here.
And Cyber's in, but the Yokai is on deck. Uses, dies. Brede and Solotov will have to untangle this defense. Impact nades going out. Damage being done to Vidiking. Solotov pushing in. He finds one, but he's traded right back. It's all up to Brede. He's had so many good clutches. But leave it to the best player on FaZe Clan and what might be one of the best teams at the tourney to shut down the clutch minister himself. Free-Day put in the ground. FaZe answers back. They steal Falcons map. Neither of these teams comfortable on home soil. A third map on neutral turf now needed between these two with a spot in the grand finals on the line.
No one said it'd be easy making it to the biggest game of the tournament. Massive comeback from FaZe Clan, but map 3 awaits us, Parker.
Absolutely. We'll be back in a couple minutes with the thrilling conclusion of Falcons versus FaZe.
I can see what's in front of me. I can no longer feel a thing. I can see what's in front of me.
one, you guys really expected to be 2-0 against the FaZe clan? It's a huge match.
No, I don't think they expect to versus us. We didn't expect to versus them. It's always a hard game every single time we play them. I think it's been 3 maps every time, or in the grand final, I think it was 4 maps, 5 maps, I can't remember, but yeah, it's always a tough game against those guys.
How is FaZe clan able to be so resilient? Comeback is always an option for you.
I think we are confident in our maps. So in Chalet, we started very well, getting open kills, and we don't know how to finish the rounds. So I think that is the main problem of Chalet. In the Covio, Lair, sorry, is the map we are very confident, so we just play our game and beat them. And we talked about it before map number 2, Lair, that FaZe need to convert their opening kills into round wins on their attacking side. How do they achieve that, Jack?
Yeah, I think they were hanging on in there in the first half. They got a 3-3 defense split, which isn't, necessarily amazing on there. But once they got into the attack, they were sensational. How were they doing that? It was particularly their IGL King. Yes, he only went 4 and 5 on the scoreboard that everyone can see, but he was on the Monty. He was the one that was controlling the pacing of the team, forcing his gunners around him, and then they were controlling the aggression that was coming out of Falcons. And most importantly, Leo, they were punishing it.
Yeah, FaZe is spot on their mistakes. They knew they were controlling the game on Chalet. They knew that it was about the mid round that they were getting punished. And so what do? They bring the shield, they control the aggression, they punish anyone trying to gain the momentum after getting the opening kill, and they did take Lair easily. Going into the third map, if they can keep this momentum, they're in a good spot.
I do wonder whether Falcons will ban away the Monty away from King on Nighthaven. It's very much a structured, execute-heavy map, and therefore I don't know if they'll want to take that one away.
And before we get into map 3, Nighthaven Labs, is there something on Lair that we can learn in our own games from some of the best players in the world, Leo?
Listen, I've seen this Falcon setup and I just needed to show it to you guys. For anyone that will play Lair, top floor in ranked, if you've got Bandit and Kaid banned and you don't know how to hold this, let's pay attention to this strategy because I think it's genius. You're gonna bring Clash, Mira, Azami with impacts, and that's important, and Tachanka. Now, what does that enable you to do? Well, the first thing is that Clash enables you to go outside and go aggressive towards those bathroom windows. That jump out here, coordinated with the bathroom player, and boom, your Blackbird that was here is already gone. Then Azami on the A-bomb site can use the Mira windows to impact trick any kind of hard breach and can then use our Kiba barriers to set up a stronghold here behind the front desk. Play aggressive of those Kiba barrier, go aggressive here and get a first pick. Not only that, pay attention to the combination between the Tachanka fire canisters here on the breach and on the way, and at the same time the Goyo, and at the same time the Kiba barriers. Look at this stronghold. It's impossible to get into A. Most importantly, on the backside, Clash is still there, holding anyone that would be coming. And if you look at this, only 20 seconds left, 4v2, the utility and the setup is absolutely amazing from Falcons. Now, FaZe of Falcons, one single map to decide who's gonna go to the grand finals coming after a short break.
Last time you played against them in Labs, you lost. Why isn't that happening again?
I think Labs is one of our most confident maps right now, so we just have to play our game, and that's it. We know how they play. You just have to be confident and good communication, that's it.
Both teams perform very well in Labs, but why do you think FaZe Clan will outperform them?
A gente preparou bem o mapa contra eles, alteramos algumas coisas, e aí vamos ver o que vai resultar aí.
We really prepare the map. We are bringing some counters to them, so let's see what happens.
All right, well, it's our very final map between these two teams, but one of these teams will be in action later today. The other will be in action on Sunday. A spot in the grand finals is here, and it's the spoil of victory for whoever wins, whether it be FaZe Clan or Falcons. I'd like to remind everybody that this is a rematch of our SI final from Boston just about 8 months ago, give or take. And it's been exciting, but both of these maps have been very one-sided. And it's been the team who didn't pick those maps who've done so well.
Yeah, Parker, it's been a bit of an odd series, but I think it sets us up for the best grand finals possible. It sets us up for an exceptional map 3 coming out here between these two squads. Falcons looking for their 8th grand final appearance in just 4 years, hoping to get back to that big stage that they are oh so familiar with. FaZe Clan hoping to upset the hometown heroes here in Munich. It's going to be a great game on Nighthaven Labs.
And Jesse, we are ready for our final map between these two teams, Nighthaven Labs, a map known by both of them quite intimately. Which one comes out ahead?
Well, you heard it from Julio before this map started. This is a comfortable map for Falcons. They're 4-0 this stage, playing on Nighthaven Labs, beating Team Secret, Shopify Rebellion, W7M, and G2. They are very comfortable here, and it's a bit of a rarer map for FaZe Clan, so you might think that gives the edge to the Europeans, but you also heard it from Rafadel. They have been prepping this map in the background. They've been working on some counter strats. 4-0 means you've seen your opponents play it 4 times, thrice just here in Munich. So a lot of footage back on Falcons. It's going to be up to them to keep this game dynamic, make some unexpected plays that FaZe Clan will not be prepped for.
One of these teams will end up in the grand finals, the other with a golden opportunity to do so. Wildcard and M80 is our next match. It'll come shortly after the conclusion of Nighthaven Labs. One of those North American teams will find themselves in the lower bracket finals, either up against this EU team or up against the Brazilian team of FaZe Clan. It will be a thrilling contest. And it does guarantee that our final 3 teams will be from completely separate regions. Though, admittedly, if Wildcard wins, all of the coaches might be from Brazil.
Yes.
A fantastic stat. This is a map that broke the hearts of FaZe Clan fans about 2 years ago in what might be the single most memorable 5th map we have had in the history of our esport. Now, obviously, that was ages ago.
10 seconds left before.
And FaZe Clan are a different team. They've won a world championship since then, and I think looked a little bit better with this lineup. But Falcons are a tough foe. Jesse, do you think there's any fear that FaZe Clan might end up falling to their own mental game if they don't have a strong start?
I mean, it's possible, Parker. It's always important to start strong, especially on its 3rd map of a decider, but it is attacking side here, and we know that FaZe Clan are defensive monsters. So even if they go down 4-2, I'm not so worried about them bouncing back in the second half. We started with these operator bans, right? And it's the Bandit Kite. The same thing FaZe Clan wanted to ban back on Lair, but this time it's going to be a pretty much same story, as this Miro window is going to be even more of a problem. They're trying to keep this wall closed as much as they can. No Thermite this time around being brought, though. The Hibana's going to open things up a little bit easier. Once this gets open, Falcons, of course, chose to ban out the Monty. I know Fresh was talking about whether that would be the option from Falcons, and they do remove it from Vidaking.
Cyber using almost all of these X-Kairos at this point in time. Whether he's going to succeed here, we will find out. No, the wall's still intact, but they find a pick anyway. They swing, and down goes Leaky Fact. The final set of X-Kairos will now need to be used properly. If nobody's able to shoot this last one out, then passage into the bomb site will get ever difficult.
Yeah, they get it open there. Nitrocell tried to come out and stop it, but unfortunately just a little bit too late. Upside for Falcons, they pick up Ligifac, right? He does get down, but they pick him back up, so it will be a 5-on-5 still when the go through the rest of this round will have those Kiva barriers still generating in his pocket as well. You can't execute with just IT, especially not an IT that's opened like this.
They did not get it open, by the way. It is still closed.
They can probably crouch through it, but yeah, I mean, you're not going to get it soft through with that. You've got to find a second dimension. It looks like Connector will be that angle.
It confused both of us because it sure seemed like they had managed to open it. Shaiko dies at the hands of Cyber, who, despite being thwarted from a utility perspective, still has a mighty strong gun in his hands. KDS slowed temporarily by the Banshee as he takes up space over an electrical. Cyber aggressing in IT, watched by that bulletproof camera, but very concerned with what might be swung onto him from those rafters. That's the position that's being played by Leaky Fact, the Warden, outdueling him, and Falcons find two in very quick succession.
Nice little sight play coming out from them. They've stopped this initial burst, but there's still players on FaZe Clan hunting for a kill. Only one man down. They've got a lot of different angles where they're looking for this frag.
When the Zazami goes unbanned, you see the headaches that she can cause, slowing down your assault into the bomb site. Souls gets a little bit of intel now as one of those proximity explosives go off. Leaky Fact still on the ground. He slays Vidaking. Handy trades it back onto Solitov. Now he tries for the sweep in, but Bride is there to shut it down. Leaky Fact does die, but it leaves Souls in a 1v2. Battling time, battling utility, and battling two players from Falcons, neither of whom seem quite intent on taking the engagement in his way. Why not? Souls tries to bait them out. He's got case in hand, he will march in. And he's got two targets to pick and he can't hit either of them. Bride already off to a better start than what we saw from him on map 2. And Falcons will take round 1.
I don't think we could have asked for a better round 1, Parker. Very close in the 1v2, comes down to it, but I think you got to go back to that start. Struggling with IT, it made it a little bit awkward to get in. We saw Cyber ended up having to crawl through the breach because he just couldn't quite get it from the crouched position. So that slows them down quite a lot in that push. And then there's just some really nice swings in the mid-round from Falcons. Comes on out, equalizes that man count, gets it in their favor in the end of things. And then it was a cool push by Souls. He was through Aqua Hallway. He used the Zofia stun to find out if there was an Azami playing behind the desk. There was, but they still lose a couple gunfights. They eventually trade it out, but it's too little and it's too late. Big kill from Licky Fact there. His position was known, but he still wins that duel. It's not an easy one.
That bomb site in particular is so easy to hide behind one of the regular pieces of the map. We're not talking reinforcements, we're not talking about Kiva barriers, we're talking about things in the actual map itself, be they pillars, be they walls. Certain bomb sites have tons of soft destruction able to be done to it. Other bomb sites are mostly reinforced themselves with a couple panels here or there and some of the floor that can be shot through or shot down at if you're defending above, looking over a particular bomb site. Case in point, if you've got a bomb site that works in your favor as a defender, you might as well use it. Falcons do that, and they had two great players with great guns still remaining. FaZe Clan got tripped up earlier on. Now they're showing some of their own deficiencies in using utility to take map control, albeit through just one round.
Licky Fact back on his favorite operator, the Solus coming back out once again. The only roamer on the top floor, but a lot of players in the mid floor as well. This should be known by FaZe Clan, or at least expected, as they know Licky Fact likes to play it on this bomb site. They've got Souls on this Dokkaebi to try to narrow down where this operator could be, try to find the captain before he deals too much damage. Initially playing an IT, but as the wall gets opened up, he does have to rotate away, and will still just be on that top floor, hunted down by a couple of these roam clearers.
Those logic bombs going by the wayside quite quickly. There are mute jammers spread out throughout this course of this entire map, so you can find an opportunity to get the gadgetry quieted. Soul's not finding an awful lot from that, and FaZe Clan really not able to follow up with one of two pieces of utility that this Dokkaebi has.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a really big reinforcement just on that cafeteria wall straight to the front door, Parker. That's going to be keeping Licky Fact safe as he plays in that cafeteria position. They know where he's at. Saltov here to protect him too, but clearing these players is a whole other beast.
We've been focused on Souls through so much of this as he's just worked his way in all by himself. Now his other logic bomb will go off. And he takes an engagement and wins it against Leaky Fact. What an incredible shot to control that SMG-12 is no easy task. And that's the Solus gone, and Intel now will also go in pocket of FaZe Clan.
It's a huge fight, right? But you do waste a lot of time clearing out that one player. You've got just over 60 seconds to get this execute down, and all four defenders have retreated back towards the bomb site. They've got plenty of nitro cells. One of them gets wasted, the second one doesn't. Uses, cleans up Cyber. That's a big pick to come through and equalize us back to a 4-on-4.
And down goes KDS in the hands of Shaiko. Another Nitro Cell will go off. Breedays does not find anything. Souls now, that player that we focused on so much earlier, who's been able to carry a good deal of weight in this round. Works his way down EXO and has 2 players of Falcons within striking distance. Might be unbeknownst to him. Solotov dies to Vidiking, and Souls will now push up. Roughly around the corner. Oh my goodness, does not clear his corners. Breeday's patience pays off. And Breeday will swing and capitalize on the chaos that has been thrown into the ranks of FaZe Clan. Handy will then drop, and it's the final 3 kills, all for Breeday. Falcons are fired up here on Labs.
And how about that for a defensive round? Breeday steps up so big, and I think underestimating him a little bit. First, they're not checking the corner. That's tough sometimes. You're on low time. That's going to happen. But then the second guy goes into the same area of the map, Parker. He's inside of EXO and just not watching for that second swing, expecting that you can get deep into the bomb site before he goes for the second one. Breeday, not known for his aggressive plays, but in that moment, his move to jump into EXO, to push even farther forward after getting this first kill, I think was the complete difference maker. Finds the first, pushes up for Vidiking, who doesn't expect it, and then why not just date the 1v1 versus Handy as well. Really well played from Breeday.
Somebody in the crowd shouting, Breeday, I want your kids. I think that's a nice offer.
Calibrating air compressor. All
We've
set.
got some haters in the crowd. We've got some lovers as well. I think that's good to see.
I love a good hater game.
Me too. Me too.
I love a good hate watch.
Me too. FaZe Clan somewhat used to it with all the international events they've been to. Very rarely do they have the crowd behind them, although to be fair, when we do go to South America, that crowd roars loudly.
I do think that W7M team, now Furia, was more popular in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's a tough spot for FaZe Clan. They've always lived in the shadow in terms of popularity of teams like Team Liquid, who for a long time has been the most popular team in Brazil. I think this Furia squad has picked up a huge amount of fans, not just because of their personalities, but because of how much winning they've done as well. I mean, when Ninjas in Pajamas was a dominant organization, they were also struggling to find the favor of a region as well, so it can be tricky. And we've noted that both Team Secret and Wildcard are not beloved by their region the same way some of their other counterparts are, but it takes time. It takes time to build up a fan base. It takes time to build up lovers and haters. Here, obviously, Falcons have the crowd at their back. The crowd was much more quiet during map number 2, and that was because of FaZe's dominance. Now here, Falcons off to an early lead.
It's a much better little hard breach going through from Handy as he does open the IT wall, makes it soft like he intended to, and his teammates can help breach that as well. We see the shotgun work happening right now. Cyber can start to flash things in. This top floor roam is a little bit light at the moment. Uses Shaiko and Breeday, the 3 pillars up on the top floor while their 2 teammates sit down below them. Typically, you'd focus quite heavily on clearing the top floor before going for your full execute. And I do think that's still FaZe's intention, but 90 seconds into this game, and they haven't made a whole lot of strides for it.
They'll take care of that Nitro Cell. And now they should be able to get the wall opened up. Another EMP is going to go off to keep that Nitro Cell in its static state, and it will finally blow up, but a bit late.
Really cool.
Great coordination there by FaZe Clan to get that information, prevent Falcons from doing any serious damage to them, but also preventing Falcons from stopping you gaining more map control.
Yeah, this 3-player hub top floor, though, Parker, still needs to be cleared out, and that's Vidiking's job.
Oh my goodness, another Nitro Cell will go. Vidiking walking back. He will smoke off rafters, which will cause Shaiko some considerable harm. Breeday dies, Vidiking and Souls both die, so hold on. Your timing on Shaiko could not have been worse. Solotov finds one as well. Cyber and Handy are the last 2 left. FaZe Clan seemed like they knew what they were doing on this entry, but it has fallen apart with 30 seconds left.
Yeah, we finally fall off that roam game. Falcons happy with what they've accomplished on the top floor. It's just the 2 hard breachers, Cyber and Handy, to try to make this happen now down the Aqua stairs. There is one waiting at the bottom. It's Usus.
Andy will sprint his way down. Usus greets him. That's case control too. So Cyber, with only 15 seconds left, will likely exit this round empty-handed. I don't think he's bringing anybody with him to the afterlife, Jesse. No, he's not. Shaiko more than one kill in that round, making his presence known. A perfect rotation for Falcons, and they are off to a 3-0 lead.
You couldn't ask for a better start. The full site rotation coming through, and you gotta wonder, do the TAC timeouts start to come out from FaZe Clan? Do you start to get worried on map 1 when things really started to go badly? It took a while for them to call that TAC timeout. You could argue it came a little bit too late, all the way on the second half after going down 5-1 through the half split. Operator bands come through. It's Thermite and Mira. Lots of focus on the wall still from these two teams. For now, it doesn't seem like we'll get, there it is, TAC timeout.
Alguns ataques um pouco mais concentrados, só que com melhores bonecos para poder melhorar no cruzado reparo deles. Então, tipo assim, pra garagem, eu acho que vale a pena a gente trazer um Black Beast fazendo na garagem, tá ligado? E um capitão ainda. Pra, tipo, depois que faz estar recuado, a gente conseguir tirar os caras lá do bomb, conseguir tirar o cara daquele cantinho ali. Pode ser que seja melhor, sabe, tu trazer um Deimos. Que aí no exit round você pode ver se alguém, tipo, tá tentando rotate, essas paradas assim, entendeu? Aí até dependendo do bocar por baixo. No bomb do lab, vão primeiro abrir o bomb e aí vão começar a caçar pela janela do barril, certo? Porque a janela do barril é o cara que fica marcando por baixo. Então, tipo, o vôlei tá só acelerando essa parte da janela do barril, abrindo o bomb primeiro, no barril a gente continua o round de uma forma mais horizontal, pegando pela empilha.
Esquece.
And I like that this one came a little bit earlier now from FaZe Clan. They're calling it before things spiral out of control. The early game hasn't always been going so bad for FaZe. They've gotten 2 of the first 3 opening picks, but a lot of the hard breaks, a lot of the util, a lot of the late round executes just aren't really lining up for them. So there's some serious problems for them to try to solve. FaZe Clan have often been really strong on the conversions through this tournament. They've been the #1 conversion team throughout the group stage, throughout the first couple days of playoffs, and we saw it on the last map. They got 7 entries on Lair, and they converted all but 1 of them. They've already failed to convert more entries than on this map than they have on map number 2. That's something they need to address through this second quarter if they want a chance to get back in the game.
It is really a repeat of Chalet on those entries, though, right? First 4 rounds on Chalet, 3-1 in favor of Falcons.
10 seconds to go.
And a 0% conversion rate on First Blood. The round that FaZe Clan won, on Chalet, Falcons struck first.
Yeah.
The 3 rounds that Falcons won, FaZe Clan struck first. So sometimes, like what we saw on Lair, and to your point, sometimes those conversion rates line up really neatly, and they really do tell the story of how successful those First Bloods can be, and other times they are completely decoupled from the actual results.
And I think that kind of leads into who's controlling the map, Parker, because FaZe Clan, while they've been the best conversion team, they do really well when they can get themselves in on plan A, when they have everything going to plan. Falcons have been the best recovery team. So if we aren't seeing opening picks convert into round wins, that probably means Falcons are getting a bit messier in the mid-round. They're causing a little bit more of that chaos, and that has historically been where they've been thriving. So very interesting couple of stats to look at over the first 2 maps, and definitely seems like that's feeding into how this third map is playing through as well.
Knock, knock.
With how close the bomb site is to this IT wall, you might expect a bit more aggression from the defenders, especially an interest in keeping that close. But with the Mira gone, I think Falcons have wisely said, let's take a more sheltered approach. Let's take a more conservative approach to this. Leave the wall open for the taking. We're not going to have a Mira window at our disposal. We certainly can't electrify it because both Bandit and Kaid have been removed by FaZe Clan. That leaves mute jammers as your really only way to do that, and I mean, they're going to be dealt with EMPs very quickly, so.
Yeah. And I love this Bravo from Souls, too. That bulletproof camera was a bit of a problem for them the previous time they attacked the site.
Problem.
Now it's been cleared out, claimed by the attackers.
That Trickster op for a period of time felt like she might not have a place in our meta, but has proved time and time again that info is incredibly important, and if you can snipe away a couple gadgets that are meticulously placed by the defenders, you can do some serious damage on attack.
First strike comes from Solotov, and that's going to be a big pick just inside of Rafters. Gets aggressive onto Souls. We saw some site work being done by Bride, opening up the breach so that Users could work his way into connector. That's more map being reclaimed by Falcons. It's forcing FaZe to focus far more on the Rafter side of the map.
KDS has the cut across on these Rafters position, trying to draw him out as Handy also provides some bait on that Rafters doorway. Solotov's a little bit smarter than that, I guess. He's not really wanting this engagement one bit. It will kill a lot of time on the side of FaZe Clan.
Now already you're worried about this, right? The push is coming in quite quickly. Solotov needs to be ready.
And they're about to dogpile him. The Blackbeard leading the way. No, my goodness, and Solotov will plug the hole again. FaZe Clan doubling up. Shaiko's there for added insurance. Solotov, the only one to be punished at this point in time. Vidaking had so many lined up, but not enough damage is done. Bride and Leaky Back will send the round away. Falcons still yet to drop around here on Nighthaven Labs.
Parker, the site play is just so good. We saw it, all the anchors doing their job. I said Saltov had to be ready on that Azami, and he absolutely was. Didn't feel like he needed to play passive with the Kiba barriers. Was willing to go for a swing, take a bit of a risk before you lock that up, and then slow the attackers even more than they already were. Really nice play coming out at the highest level from Saltov. Everybody else put in the work. We saw some good site play from Bride. I believe it was Lickifak who jumped out of the window in electrical to get a backstab on the IT player's breach side too. So all players on Falcons collapsing in on that push, and you gotta wonder from FaZe, maybe you add a second dimension to that. You get a guy going Aqua, you get a guy going Connector, and that looks a little bit different, but because it was all focused on either IT or Rafters, it was very readable by Falcons.
Activating camera.
10 seconds left.
Crowd's chant now focused on Bride and the old Ole chant, which is a universal language at this point, let's be frank.
Big fan of that one.
Everybody all over knows it. Seven Nation Army chant is one that also will come out from time to time.
Yep.
Falcons in full control of this third map. How did we get here, Jesse? It was a 7-2 victory for Falcons on FaZe's map. FaZe then returns the favor by taking away Falcons map, denying a quick 2-0 for the European team. Do bear in mind that the loser of this matchup will have to play another game today. It could be a quick one, or we could go deep into OT, tiring out one of these teams and not giving a lot of time between these matches, especially if that M80 wildcard match is quick. You won't have a lot of time to do any VOD review on your potential opponents.
Yeah, nothing's easy at these international events. That's why it's so important to win right here. FaZe Clan know that better than anyone. Going up against Falcons, who have been able to play their game really all map long. You see more power operators use this on his Clash, Lickifak on the Solus. These are operators we've talked about throughout this series and how good they are for Falcons. FaZe Clan don't seem to want to engage, at least not with that roam game. A lot of the pressure early has been by opening up this wall, making sure they have an angle. Cyber's playing the Maverick here, but he's playing it with Diffuse Kit. So that signals to me that he does actually want to walk in and plant. A lot of the time, you'll see Maverick players in this position just hold from another plant, maybe coming in from EXO or elsewhere on the map.
A lot of action happening now as we sped our way to the halfway point. Falcons could be going up 5-0 here, but FaZe Clan showing incremental improvements. They'll use a logic bomb as KDS has now wandered his way into the bomb site. Are they aware of this? Cyber is there too, and he's getting Diffuser down. An Nitro Cell goes out, it's missed by KDS. He's jumped upon by Shaiko. It forces Cyber off of the plant. Cyber takes matters into his own hands, and down goes Solitov. He's also got the lineup on Shaiko, and for his second kill, he's knocked off two of the best players on the side of Falcons, and there's still a minute to go. Now with the advantage going towards FaZe Clan, it will get even better. Vidiking picking off Lickifak, Bride and Uzis, 10-1. Between these two players, Jesse, but now they've got the really challenging job of getting back to the site.
They snuck right in, Cyber's done it all, and now his teammates are coming to collect as well. Bride, the last alive in the 1v4, and Plant's finished.
He'll have to drop, but just almost no damage done. The mid-round so huge for FaZe Clan. They pick up their first round here on Nighthaven Labs. It couldn't come in a better time because a 5-0 scoreline for Falcons would be nigh impossible to come back from, but FaZe Clan are on the board, and this is their best chance to keep it as close before we swap sides.
They snuck in right under their noses, walking in through Animus. You saw that Maverick doing his work very quietly, very quickly, gets in, and Cyber, not a guy who's often planting the Diffuse Kit, but knows how he can play that role when he needs to. The team was all around him, playing towards the top of Cargo, on the main breach, elsewhere where they had to be. When KDS died, it got a little shaky, because it was supposed to be KDS entries, makes the space, and then Cyber's the one planting the Diffuse Kit. KDS goes down to Shaiko, and all of a sudden, Shaiko's like, Cyber's like, I gotta take this into my own hands. Hits some brilliant shots in the midst of that round, a couple of critical kills to get his plant spot even more secured. And I mean, the positioning is not easy for an execute like that, Parker. The fact that they've still got a guy up in rafters so that they can expect a guy flanking on the Animus hatch is really deep from FaZe Clan. They've thought about every possibility in that round, and it's important one to get here. 4-1 on the board, and now sets himself up for a potential 4-2.
5 seconds.
Great effort from Cyber as well on that round as he trusted himself, but as you pointed out, the moment KDS died, it did weaken Cyber's hand, though he was still able to muster 2 kills onto both Solotov and Shaiko. That's hard opposition to topple, and yet Cyber was able to do it. Cyber entered as the lowest rated player in this series, which is a far cry from the records that he's set at majors before and the potential that we know, but things are upside down for FaZe right now. KDS, the best statistical player on this team, 0-5, struggling to perform, and he keeps getting put into harm's way and he keeps losing those engagements. That is not a promising sign for FaZe. KDS will need to turn it around, because depth right now on FaZe Clan is not enough for KDS to be 0-5.
No, absolutely. I mean, we saw Cyber through these playoffs averaging less than a 0.5 KPR. He was really struggling in the playoffs particularly, but got 9 kills last map. Was a big part of the reason why they won Lair. If he can step up and have another big game, that could be the difference maker to take Nighthaven Labs.
Cyber once again on important utility work as managed to open up this IT wall. A very familiar spot for attackers and defenders, as it's a critical junction here in the on this bomb site and on this map. No matter what, if you're roaming on that top floor, you're going to need to defend that IT portion, and that's exactly what Falcons have done. It's been opened up successfully by FaZe as we hit the halfway point of the round.
I would argue the most important wall in Siege, Parker, so you see all these teams committing to it. Very critical, and Cyber walks right through it for an angle.
And he finds Brede! He was good for a 2K, and he'll do it again. Uses Feld. Almost a 3K, sidearm out, twisting around, dealing with the Azami of Shaiko's, then shut down by Handy. FaZe's entry, once again, very confident, very swift, as they've thrown 3 of these Falcons out of the building. Solotov now the next one under fire, lighting up Cyber. He might be able to get the secure, but he thinks otherwise. Now it's 1 for Leaky Fact before KDS is there to break his own goose egg. Solotov rotating deep around, closer to this middle floor bomb site. He's got a read, does some serious damage. Cyber's been picked back up as well. Solotov's a terribly smart player, Jesse. If he's able to take these engagements, 1v1v1, there is a win potential here for Falcons. The previous round FaZe were excellent at converging on this final defender. Will they be able to pull that off again? A reload misses its target. Bad timing for Solotov. He would have had souls dead to rights, but FaZe Clan can indeed play 2 in a row. The gap is close to being closed as possible, and the side swap will kick in with Falcons now moving to attack.
And you see that mental. A lot of worse teams would have crumbled in that moment, but from 4-0 down, they battle back to get themselves a side that I think is very much winnable from. They can still push forward on this defensive side now and bring this close up against Falcons. We got to talk about Cyber, one of the best entry players in the entire world. Back-to-back, he single-handedly pulls FaZe back into this game with how good he was at getting those entries. Specifically that last round, the way he moved in through the top floor, Parker, I mean, that was just ridiculous. Didn't actually kill Shaiko, but caused Shaiko to panic enough that his teammate got that kill instead. So you could rock that one down as a 3K if you want. I don't think anybody would blame you. As an entry player, though, especially for a guy like Cyber, your role shifts a little bit when the side swaps, right? No longer are you the first into the building. Now you're on a bit of an extended roam, bit of a solo play. What can you do as a flanker? What can you do in that aggressive spot in different areas around the map?
No electrification allowed here on Nighthaven Labs, whether it be on the first half or now the second half, as FaZe will not be allowed the Kaid or Bandit toys, so it will leave you up if you want to hold that IT wall, as we saw from when Falcons were defending. You might have to use a mute, you'll probably use a Mira, and a Mira will be brought by FaZe Clan immediately for this top floor bomb site.
I wouldn't be surprised if both of those ended up going on important walls. Sometimes you'll put one on IT and connector. I've seen them being put on the jungle wall as well. You can go into rafters and play more of a traditional Mira spot. There's a lot of good options for Mira windows on this bomb site, but we'll have to see what Souls is looking for. The IT is almost a guaranteed for the Mira window position.
I'm going to keep a keen eye on what operator Usus locks in. Ying is his most played operator here on attack. She is available. Oh no, she's not available.
No.
I was going to talk about the Ace, because I was going to mention that the bans were stylistically a little bit different. Ace is now available, as he was not earlier on. So small changes being made.
Great point.
I got bamboozled by my own stats.
Usus does love the Ying on this bomb site, though. I mean, it was a great point, and that's why FaZe Clan banned it out.
It's his most played operator. His second most played operator is Monty. Both of these bans by FaZe Clan deliberately targeting the 2 most picked attackers for Usus. It gets to a bit of a wash when it gets to a second operator, but it depends on map and it depends on where they are at, but I mean, Monty's also always a good ban.
Yeah. He's a good Grim player too, and that's what he'll have to rely on in round number 7. More hard breach work being done, and this time it's a little bit cleaner from Falcons. Round 1, FaZe struggled with that IT wall. The Hibana trick, not easy. We'll see it coming through this time. Sounds like they got a good angle on it. Looks like they're just gonna have to open it the old-fashioned way, Parker. It takes a few more X-Kairos. It's not as big of a gap to walk through, but you should still be able to crouch your way into the map.
I mean, one thing that we saw Falcons do quite well was how much they wasted time, too.
Yeah.
Even though they did almost manage to get it open, it was the time expense. Even if you had opened it up...
Oh, that's bad.
That's not a good one.
That could be devastating.
It might make IT a position where now Falcons will have to change things up and forego that entire portion of the map. It will also mean that FaZe Clan won't need to defend it as aggressively. That's the bigger problem I find for Falcons, is now you have to account for where those defenders might be repositioned to.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, we can see that this Falcons team, they want to go over towards Connector. That's where Vidaking is looking on the Clash right now. Rie would like to open some of this, but it's going to be tough. He does shoot towards the Mira, and this might be a good job, but Vidaking's going to try to turn and get it. Won't be able to. The Mira window does get popped by the Hibana.
Smart play by Vidaking, just not fast enough. The Mira window is eating up so much utility at this point in time, and Mira's place in the meta, Jesse, is less about intel and now just more about utility drain.
Yeah.
Now Shaiko to tussle with the Clash. Vidaking moving all over, gaining very valuable intel down below. Leaky Fat gaining information from Shaiko. The attempt is to get the Clash into a position where he can be shot from below, but that has not succeeded just yet. Fire will go off. Cyber's first one down. Leaky Fat finds one, hitting the deck. Oh my goodness, missing each other like two ships in the night, but Leaky Fat finds his target. Down goes Handy. It's been a while since Falcons had something to cheer for, but the fans are on their feet. Final 30 seconds. The Clash's shield has been put down. Leaky Fat still down there, not on the same floor. But hold on a moment. KDS finding his own multi-kill. Trapped against this mirror window, pops up. Shaiko will get in on the action. He and Leaky Fat, all the kills. As now Shaiko holds the defuse kit. And Yuzis says, why not me too? 3 players on Falcons, all active on the kill feed, but let's not kid ourselves. Leaky Fat winning that round, and Falcons now up to 5 rounds.
Oh, Captain, my Captain, what a big round from Leaky Fat down below. And we talked about Cyber dragging FaZe Clan back in through rounds 5 and 6. The opening death in that round goes for a flank, specifically trying to hunt down Leaky Fat, but loses that duel. I think that smile from Shaiko just knows how good his teammate is.
We maybe get 1, 2, maybe 3 Shaiko smiles a year, so enjoy them when they present themselves. I really do think a huge part of what Julio brings to this team is the motivation on the side of Falcons.
Yeah.
Yes, they are an emotional team. Yes, they do get heated when things go sideways. There are clips that have been shared all over social media about Leaky Fat in particular, getting angry at the team and their contributions, holding them to a high standard, the same standard that I'm certain he holds himself to. But when you've got a hype man behind you who also knows the game, that is a deadly combination. And even when they were losing, Falcons still seem to be in good spirits. It's hard to tell if FaZe Clan's in good spirits because even when they are dog-walking their opponents, they still look so stoic. But there is some frustration that you can see now and then creep onto the face of players like Souls, like Vidaking.
Yeah.
Cuts to their player cams, and I think the scoreline is a good reason for the frustration that FaZe is feeling.
Well, it's been crazy from Falcons and Mental, too. I mean, you talk about the season they had last year. They lose the Manchester Major to Beast Coast in the Grand Finals. They lose the Montreal Major to W7M in the Grand Finals. They lose the 6 Invitational to FaZe Clan in the Grand Finals. This is a team who have had more than their fair share of defeats, but that's why you want another shot, right? That's why you want to get back to those Grand Finals. 2 rounds, all that separates Falcons from a shot at achieving the greatest prize.
When it comes to qualification games that are through the typical major circuit that we have, this will be a full calendar year and a potential 5th berth for this Falcon squad in the Grand Finals. Obviously, they did not make the finals in Sao Paulo in SI 2 years ago, but everything since has been theirs. The only exceptions are EWC and Reload, but those are not official circuit events. Those were one-off tournaments. So when it comes to this SI circuit and our point circuit, it's been Falcons so consistent, the most consistent team, and they are on the verge of doing it again.
It's a risky push, Parker. They haven't cleared the top floor. Plenty of FaZe Clan roamers remain on the top floor. Falcons will know that. They're intentionally just taking a very limited map control approach inside of EXO. Solotov, kind of the one guy who's going to be existing on this top floor, hoping to stop any flanks from hitting his teammates down inside the bottom floor.
Shaiko's been excellent. A whole smattering of kills for him in the previous round. In the previous rounds, because technically last round it was just a single kill. But lowest frags on the side of Falcons sitting at 5, highest on 6. It really has been a whole team affair here as everybody of Falcons has had a good look at least one round. FaZe Clan are usually the team that we talk about doing that, but there hasn't been a lot of goods just like in map 1 to talk about here regarding FaZe.
Good waste of these toxic babes from Usus. He wants to plant just on the EXO door. Bride's outside on the breach so that he can get that really strong cover position. You gotta have somebody above as well, but they're ready for it.
And they trade back, all S's down the board. Soul's the first one, Solotov and Shaiko on the board next. The nade will go out, and very quickly Usus will look to follow up. The Nitro Cell goes. KDS has been downed, and Falcons with a big lead yet again. Souls and Handy both on the middle floor. The bomb site down below. Handy picked off by Bride. So again, almost everybody striking on the side of Falcons. Diffuser going down to Usus. Souls now looking for a way back to the site. Solotov says no, thank you. Match point for Falcons, 1 round away from the grand finals.
The European favorites are playing so well on this final map of the series, Parker. They're looking exceptional, and they clear through that limited map control take. They get cafeteria, they're down the vending stairs, they're in EXO, and they do exactly what they need to, finding the kills as FaZe Clan start to panic. FaZe Clan start to overswing. All of it gets punished, and it's so well coordinated on the push from Falcons. It felt like FaZe started to have a comeback through that first half. They started to bring it back 4-0 to 4-2, but at the second we see the side swap, the mental from Falcons, it's unbreakable. Their pushes just look so unbeatable, and I don't know what FaZe Clan do at this point to pull it back.
I mean, while we've gone to all 3 maps, none of them have been particularly close. Right now, map number 2 on Lair was the closest. It needed 11 rounds, but even in the rounds that this Falcons team won, I did not see a ton of promise from them. FaZe Clan were the presumptive favorites on that map after the first couple rounds, despite it not being their map choice. But here, on the rounds that FaZe have won, yeah, fine, they've been okay, but on the rounds that they've lost, Falcons have been in complete and total control of this map. And there we have it again. The hopes of making a grand final for FaZe Clan washing away. The loser goes down to the lower bracket where they will await the winner of M80 and Wild Card. That will be up at the conclusion of this match, which with the way the scoreline is, could be coming much sooner rather than later, but 2 matches in 1 day is something you never want to find yourself in. FaZe Clan might just be there, and if they drop that second match today, that means no grand finals for the defending world champs.
This is still a difficult bomb site to attack on, Parker. The top floor of Nighthaven is a really tricky one for attackers to crack open. Falcons can't get ahead of themselves depending on how they're feeling. Hunting for a frag with this Splaz, though, this could be a big opportunity.
That's not a good sign. Having to use an impact to take care of a drone because you just can't aim and you feel like you're trapped in that position.
Yeah.
Cyber's in a rough spot and could be an early casualty. If he's gone, FaZe Clan will struggle. Offense has not been there for FaZe. Cyber's been leading the way, and he is playing in a do-or-die spot, Jesse.
The Glass is hunting for him, but eats a lot of damage and has to back off. I'm surprised Cyber's survived as long as he has, frankly. This is a tough position. Now forced out by the Blackbeard and still back to site.
Oh my goodness, 2 targets lay in wait. Uses, finds Souls, whose back was turned. The Blackbeard's still in this very, very strong spot up on the rafters. He will be joined by Shaiko now, and not just Shaiko, but all of the cavalry will come on the side of Falcons. They've opened up enough of IT for Shaiko to wander his way in. Has to be wary of that Goyo canister now, trading most of his HP, but he gets it done on a single point, evading the flames. 8 kills for Shaiko. FaZe Clan with only 3 remaining and a minute left. This does not look promising for the Brazilians.
No real chance to flank. It's very direct coming through from Falcons. Raptors and IT, but that's all the control they really need. They can just take these fights and hopefully with man advantage trade out to win.
And Solotov sees the Azani Cyber falls. He's got another lockdown in this position. Hunting him from the back will be used as the Blackbeard gets into position himself. FaZe Clan clinging to dear life and reduced to King, but a flawless round as the Falcons take flight. And for the 5th match in a row, the 5th event in a row, for the 5th time in a row, grand finals for Falcons.
The Europeans will have their champion in the grand finals tomorrow. Parker and Falcons, they couldn't have looked better getting there. Such a dominant performance on maps 1 and 3. Had their struggles on their own pick, but the resilience mentally to battle back against FaZe Clan. This team is looking so good at the moment, and for FaZe, they'll have to fall down to the bracket. It'll be a battle of the Americas in the lower bracket final to figure out who that opponent will be on Championship Sunday.
Oh my goodness, Falcons, what a performance it has been throughout this entire event. A team that looked so dominant through the group stages, knocking off the best that Brazil has to offer. I mean, I guess the real question needs to be asked here now. How does Falcons get over the hump? They will have a day to figure that one out as they consistently make these grand finals and yet have not been able to lift a trophy as they have stood side by side and watched as other teams do it in front of them here on home soil. They're hopeful that finally the tides will turn.
Wouldn't this be the arena to do it in, Parker? Here on their home continent in front of a crowd that is all going to be supporting them. I mean, it almost feels like this one is different. It almost feels like with a new season, a new year, it's been a new mental coming through from this Falcons squad, and they just look so good against even the best teams in the world. I don't know if there's anyone in the lower bracket that will be able to contest them.
No, I honestly thought FaZe Clan would give them their best fight, and so far, I mean, I think you can make a very credible argument that FaZe did match up very well, but the wheels came off here on this 3rd map, and yet again, Falcons will fly to the finals. Enough from us, Jesse, because Falcons are going to want to know who they're playing. Let's get to that matchup as quickly as possible, but before we do get to that, let's head down to the stage to hear what Ian and LeakyFac have to say about that match.
Thank you very much, Jesse and Parker. Falcons, wow. FaZe Clan fall. We've got these guys in another grand final, but first, a rematch from SI this year. This one must be extra special. This win here must feel good.
Yeah, this victory means a lot for us. We wanted to take our revenge, and we think this team will come back to the grand final, and then we'll keep continuing the same way.
Can we just give a quick shout out to this wonderful crowd here in Munich? Hey Munich, are we happy that Falcons are in the grand final? Now listen, we've got to address the elephant in the room. You've made it to plenty of grand finals and fallen at the last hurdle. How are you going to get the job done this time?
I think we'll keep the same thing we are doing right now, focus on ourselves. I think today was good, apart Lair, we fall a bit asleep, I will say it. But we came back on labs and yeah, same plan, same thing in our head, and we'll give everything.
The energy in the team looks phenomenal at the minute. What are the vibes like right now in Teams Falcons?
It's amazing, we are laughing, we're having fun. We all want to win, and we know that the key is to play together, and we are doing good at it.
You are. Best of luck. Good. No. I'm going to clip that myself. Thank you very much, LeakyFac. Best of luck in the grand final. Now, as we look ahead to tomorrow, the culmination of this incredible event here in Munich, the road, of course, goes further than that. It stretches to Paris. 10 years of Siege history will be celebrated in the heart of Paris, the city of love, where the world's best will gather and celebrate what is an incredible achievement in Siege history, and the greatest will gather for the 6th Invitational 2026. We cannot wait for it.
My friend, it's SI 26 in Paris will all be about making history. The 10th anniversary of this game and
end, of course, of the Invitational, all the way from a tiny little theater in Montreal to one of the biggest arenas that we got in Paris to celebrate the game. And Team Falcons will be playing on home soil. That is, though, in the future, however, because we have to chat about what they're going to do in our grand final and all of that and more right after our break. How did Falcons glide into our final?
Keep an eye out for contact.
Available now.
My friends, do you ever get a feeling of deja vu? Because we have absolutely seen this in the past. Team Falcons qualify into the grand final, this time in Munich. And how do they really make it here? Because we talked about FaZe in map 2. They needed to convert on their openings on the attack, but then the shutdown from Falcons.
Yeah, I think the first big thing was the Monty ban. That allowed them to really not be oppressed by the Monty. Vitzking was devastating on it in LA, and as soon as they do that, they're able to produce big performances like we see from Brede there.
Yeah, the late round, Brede abusing it, but then also the Clash. Look at the Clash abuse here. They ban the Monty, they take the only shield available in defense, and they abuse that to slow down FaZe, to play around the Clash. Look at how many players the Clash has spotted and slowed down. That play to me was just summarizing why Falcons had such a strong league in defense. And I think if you look at this overall matchup, you clearly had a Falcons that was dominating in 2 maps, that were in control in 2 maps. I think on the back of Leak Effect that was going absolutely crazy. If it wasn't for Lair, honestly, it would have been such a dominant showing for Falcons.
And I think when you're in such an important game, when you're in an upper bracket final, you need 2 things. You need your IGL and Leak Effect to be stepping up, to be calling for the team, but you also need a special player. And Users for me on this roster is that special player. He's not always the most flashiest. We talk about Solotov, we talk about Strikeout getting the entry kills in the regular games, but in those big moments, to get the decisions correct, to make those plays, I actually trust nobody in World Seeds more than Users. He just has a knack in these big games of finding a way.
Sense. He's got a game sense that's so special.
Well, let's visualize the trajectory that the Team Falcons went through until getting to that final. They beat G2, they beat FaZe, and now they sit waiting for either wildcard M80 or the rematch from FaZe Clan. Any one of those 3 teams can go up against them tomorrow, but what are those 2 players that enabled that grand final trajectory, gents?
Yeah, it's going to be the IGL of Leak Effect, and it's going to be the flex player of Users. As again, we just want to keep on talking about them because Leak Effect was so good. I mean, Lair didn't go quite right. I think they will go and dissect that and how that went and how they were pushed around, because that might be something that they might face FaZe again on in the final. And like I said, when you need him, Users is there in those big games.
And if there is one player, one single player on that team that can finally break the ceiling, make them win an event, I think it's Leak Effect. I think if he's on point with the calls, that's one thing, but he's also fragging in the game. He's feeling that momentum, and he's fueling all their teammates with his energy. You know him. He's happy, he's full of energy, he's bringing the mood up. We need that player in the grand final if they want to win.
And there's going to be conversations about what's going to be different tomorrow versus the previous last 3 grand finals. And it's what we spoke about in the pre-show. It's the foundations that they're building on, you know, the team synergy, the psychologists, the support staff, everything. They're building a roster that's built on some really, really stable foundations for this year, and this is just the start.
From Julio, Egomace, and a million other people that stand behind Team Falcons to make them who they are today and to make it into the grand final. But that talk is for tomorrow. And all